What's going on, everybody? Good morning and a happy Wednesday to you all as we are making the turn on this work week of ours. A big thanks for making us a part of your start. If you're up and at it here this morning, whether you're listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. Got your smart devices like your Alexa devices or the Wisco Sports App. And of course, the video stream up and rolling here this morning, YouTube and Facebook. But a very happy Friday, everybody. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning? Brewers last night falling to the New York Mets in extra innings 3-2. Brewers tied it up in the ninth thanks to a Yelly game-tying double. But the Brewers falling in the next inning, in the bottom of the 10th inning, 3-2 to drop this game one. Lots to kind of digest with this game, and I'm curious to get your takes on a lot of this stuff. So obviously, you got the loss there, but what happens? I mean, there's a couple things to kind of really dive into this game. Pat Murphy pulled Cooper Pratt after Cooper Pratt hit kind of a bloop single, but pulling him immediately after that for David Hamilton for maybe not hustling and turning that into kind of a double. And then we saw what happened at the end. If you were following online or or listening, David Hamilton throwing wide at home plate and allowing the Mets to walk it off. So did Murphy it's easy to go hindsight 2020 in this whole thing, right? It's easy to go with that. But I ask you, the listener, to try to ignore the ending of that game. And would you do the same thing that Pat Murphy did with Cooper Pratt last night? Do you do the same thing? And again, try to ignore the ending of that game because that's definitely going to influence your decision, right? I mean, it's hard not to. You go on social media and everybody's criticizing, critiquing the move by Pat Murphy after the game. Do you still, I mean, yeah. Or maybe you're the mindset of, hey, I trust Pat Murphy. All right, whatever he does, I trust him. So you got that, and then another issue from last night's game: 2 for 14. What does that number mean? What does 2 for 14 mean? That's your numbers for runners in scoring position last night. In fact, in their last 2 games, 4 for 26. It feels like this has been an issue for this ball club. If it feels like it's been an issue for this ball club for the last few years, I think you'd be right because I feel it's a tradition unlike any other. We get to a point where we are talking about this maybe a couple times every season. And here we are again. Talking about the same situation. So lots to digest with this game from last night. Game 2, we got Dustin May on the mound. Looking at, if you look at Kyle Harrison and his performance from last night, he went 5 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, giving up that solo shots, and then 5 Ks. 5 Ks. So we'll talk about last night's game and preview Game 2 for tonight. We got Packers chat coming your way here this morning, too, as the Packers will wrap up training camp, essentially wrapping up training camp today. Final public practice. It is a joint practice with the Arizona Cardinals, getting ahead for their game Friday against the Cardinals to wrap up the preseason. So we'll discuss that. I know there's some, I'm going to call them Twitter rumors. Online rumors, Twitter rumors, about like Joey Porter Jr. or Josh Sweat, who was with the Cardinals and was just activated off the pup. Not to be a Debbie Downer on the whole thing, but I ain't holding my breath on either one of those. But yeah, we'll go through that too, and maybe kind of squash some of that stuff. But plenty of Packers chat coming your way. I saw this, and this isn't gonna probably make a whole lot of Packers fans happy, but I made sure to save this from yesterday. But this was according to, this has been a complaint, I think, from Packers fans for a while now. But ticket prices for Green Bay. Yeah, they're going up, right? I mean, the face value of everything, it's been up there. But now when you talk about the average going rate for some of them, even on the secondary market, you're talking top 5. Like top 5. It is expensive to go to a Packers game. So, I mean, I'm kind of curious to hear from a lot of you that maybe used to go to a lot of Packers games or would like to go to Packers games. Is it just priced out now? This is from TickPick. Okay, TickPick. The most expensive team by average ticket price for the 2026 season. Okay. It's not necessarily just face value here, but Packers coming in at number 4. Behind the Bills. The Bills are at 610, a whopping 610. Next is the Eagles at 473. Bears, 472. And then the Packers coming in at 454. Wow. I mean, is it still like with it being 2026 and the advancements in technology and man caves and stuff like that, is it still like a must go for you, or does it kind of take away the experience? Is it maybe just a one-time sort of thing for you? You hear that? I mean, is it being priced out too much for for fans. Kind of is for me at this point. But so we'll talk some Packers here. We got Ty from Slab Factory joining us at 8 o'clock for a little Inside the Hobby segment. It is Wednesday, so it's What If Wednesday. All right, What If Wednesday. So give me a good what if scenario. You guys have been doing a fantastic job with some fun what if scenarios. So send those puppies on over. All right. You can hit us up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Also, what are we doing here? Maybe a good couple options there if you disagree with Pat Murphy's decision or even just those ticket price things that I was just mentioning there. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What's a sports story, news story that is maybe out there, it's appropriate that you'd say, man, what are we doing here? So lots to get to. Let's jump right into it. All right, the leadoff coming up. Brewers falling to the Mets last night. Runners in scoring position, another issue for the Pack. And then the whole Pat Murphy benching Cooper Pratt. We'll tell you what Pat Murphy had to say about the move and whether you maybe agree or disagree with it. Let's take our first break. And then the leadoff coming up in just a couple minutes. When you're looking for your next vehicle, make sure you're choosing a dealership that knows and cares about the community it serves. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls is proud to be locally owned and operated, providing hometown service and a better buying experience for drivers throughout the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're looking for a new Ford, a quality pre-owned vehicle, or trusted service for the vehicle that you already own, the team at Toyson Ford is there to help you out. Experience the difference of shopping local. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, your hometown Ford dealer. All right. So last night, Brewers falling to the Mets in extra innings, 3-2. Christian Yelich tied it up in the ninth with an RBI double. Had runners on third and second. Brewers potentially, with nobody out, and Lara strikes out, Garrett Mitchell strikes out, and then David Hamilton flies out. A great play by Francisco Lindor to make that catch, to go to the bottom of the ninth, and then the Brewers, Mets go to the extra frame. You start off with Hamilton on seconds. You'd think you'd be able to move him with nobody outs, but not the case. And then Brewers falling in the bottom of the 10th with a bases loaded situation, 1 out, and a wide throw from Hamilton to home plate. Why was Hamilton in the game? Because he came in for Cooper Pratt after Cooper Pratt got benched. The play, there was a little bit of a jam shot pop-up between first base, right field. You had 3 guys back there, and Cooper Pratt got a single, but then he was immediately pulled from the game for David Hamilton. And ended up he was benched for what was perceived as maybe not hustling and potentially turning that into a double. Maybe it was a little bit more than that. Here's what Pat Murphy had to say after the game. This is from our friend Hunter Baumgart. Quote, "He's a young player, and we asked him to get a bunt down, and he pulled back on a strike. First one was a good attempt. Second one, he pulled back on a strike right down the middle. The next at bat, he popped the ball up to right field and didn't run, and the ball landed and stopped. He would have easily got to second base. What could have happened after that, I'm not sure, but you can't have a guy not understanding that. And I felt like after the first at-bat, when he didn't attempt at a bunt with the ball right down the middle, and the second at-bat, the pop-up that landed fair and he wasn't at second, it was time to let him know that. And it's not laziness. I know who this kid is. He's a great kid. It's not laziness. But you got to have your head in the game, because these games like today come down to Lindor's great catch or an errant throw. You've got to be locked in if you're going to play at this level. So hopefully a good learning lesson. I love the kid, and I believe in this kid immensely. He's got to be a player that does those things. He's not going to hit 30 home runs at this point in his career. He's a great defender and a really capable offensive player. We can't have that. It's just not tolerated by anybody. And it sends a message to everybody else, too. You better run. Cooper Pratt also chatted in the locker room yesterday, in the clubhouse, after the game, and obviously was asked about it and his thoughts going forward. I'm trying to bring up the audio, but it's not going to work. But essentially what Cooper Pratt said is that he ain't going to do it again. Here we go. All right, this is the audio courtesy from Adam McCulvey from Brewers.com.
Cooper, what message do you take from that moment tonight?
I got to be better. Stuff that can't happen. It's not winning baseball. Didn't help the team win. And it won't happen again, that's for sure. From the not getting the bunt down to not running hard to first and turning it into a double. It won't happen again. I can promise you that. It's not winning baseball. And, yeah.
What did happen on the single?
I don't have an excuse for it. I just should have ran hard, and I wasn't. I don't have an excuse for it. It's inexcusable.
As you came off, it looked like you were kind of trying to process it, figure it out. What when you got to the dugout, what did the guys say?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't have an excuse for, oh, maybe it would have been fair, maybe it would have. There is no excuse. I should have ran hard, no matter even if it is foul, fair, if it's an out. I should have been busting my balls to get to second base. And some of the guys pulled me aside and just let me know, like, hey, this is how we do it here. And I know that, and I just, that it won't happen again. And they let me know. And they make sure to let me know that, I mean, it's a learning experience. But yeah.
What does it mean to be a part of a team that has standards like this that, will kind of let you know in this way?
Yeah, I know. I mean, our goal is to win, and my job is to help the team win. And I didn't do that today. And I mean, they hold you accountable, which is good. I need that. And it will never happen again.
What's the key to turning the page for tomorrow?
I mean, the game's over. It's a new day. Tomorrow, just like if you get 3 hits the day before, it's a new day tomorrow. Go in, practice, and best believe I'll be running as hard as I can.
Did Pat make that clear to you? Like, hey, it happened, it's over. Tomorrow's a new day for us, and nothing lingering.
I mean, it's known. There's a certain way we play here, and I maybe knew, but it doesn't matter. It's the way we're taught through the organization, from rookie ball to the big leagues, and I didn't do that, and I will do that. No excuses.
All right, again, that's Cooper Pratt after the game last night, after his benching, and not to try to dissect the tone of his language or become the whole body language expert here, but you can tell he's remorseful. Taking the high road here, whether you agree or not. I mean, I know you look at the video, it wasn't like he was walking or anything like that, but so whether you agree with the sentiment, whether he hustled or not, I know some people say, well, it looked like he did, but you could tell he's taking the high road here and saying, I got to be better, being the team player and all that. But and I know there's others saying, well, Contreras doesn't always kind of run out of the box, and maybe that's the difference between a younger player and an established player like Contreras. I think this is Pat Murphy, using his college background, being a long-time college manager, with these younger players. I did something similar with Sal Frelick last year, that base running blunder. He benched him the next day. We'll see what the lineup looks like today with Cooper Pratt, or tonight with Cooper Pratt in it. But yeah, you could tell, like, there was like a shot too when he came back to the dugout, like Joey Ortiz was talking to him and kind of directed him to go sit by Jake Bowers. So I don't know if Jake Bowers was kind of chatting with him and kind of, talking to the rookie in that. But, they obviously know more what was going on, what was, the behind the scenes part of it, the bunt thing, right? I mean, that wasn't kind of well known, like the instruction to go do this. And so, I mean, I think it was a combination of everything at that point. And, Murphy using it as a coaching, a teaching experience, not only for Pratt, but perhaps for the rest of the ball club. And I know it's easy to hindsight 2020. Well, look, it cost them the game last night. With Hamilton in there, the throwing error, maybe Joey Ortiz doesn't make that throwing error if he's playing third base. Who knows? We all probably have our good ideas or good thoughts of what actually would have happened here. But I think, we look back at this and we look at this play. I still, as a Brewers fan, I trust Pat Murphy. All right. I trust Pat Murphy more times than not. It is easy. We get caught in the sports world, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. We're all armchair quarterbacks, right? I mean, this is This is what we do every single day as sports fans and on radio and TV, et cetera. We're all armchair quarterbacks. We're all kind of second guessing Monday morning quarterbacking this thing. So everybody's going to have different thoughts, different opinions, different feelings towards this thing. But in mine, I kind of just I trust Pat Murphy. I mean, more times than not, the guy has pushed the right buttons. He's managed this team way past expectations to, won a bunch of games. Has it been every decision? Has it worked? Heck no. And that's the same for every coach. That's the same for every manager. That's the same for every leader. Not every decision is going to work out. Not every coach is going to be 100% correct. But more times than not, I'm going to default to Pat Murphy in this case because, I mean, I look at the track record and I look at what he's done as a manager for nearly 3 years now, and all he's done is won a bunch of games. And maybe this is just something, too, that, again, not just for Cooper Pratt, but a little bit of a message for the rest of the clubhouse here, too. Rest of the team. Now, if I'm the players, not just Cooper Pratt, but if I'm this team, if I'm the rest of the players here, message received. The standard is excellence. The standard is high. You want to go win a World Series. You want to get to a World Series. You want to win a World Series. You want to get through this incredibly tough National League. Little plays are going to make the difference. We know the weaknesses of this Brewers team. We know the things that could potentially hold back the Brewers from getting through the National League and getting to a World Series. The Brewers are going to have to play, probably when it comes to the postseason, near perfect baseball and maybe get a little bit of luck. Don't want to make that sound like they're an awful team, but we know the weaknesses of this team. So they might have to play a little extra harder than some of these other teams. Might have to be a little bit more aggressive than some of these other teams. And we've seen that a few times this year where the Brewers, they'll be a little bit more aggressive. Jake Bauers was that guy just last week. Right? Stretching that one, was it, what was the game? Was it, blank it up, but stretch that one hit into a double, just sliding in there. And then, it was the Mariners. The first game against the Mariners. Stretching a hit into a double and then getting waived to go home. And, Cal Raleigh dropping the ball after Bauers kind of ran into him in that. But, I mean, there you go. You got an example of that guy, running his tail off and being super aggressive and stuff. That's the standard I think that Pat Murphy wants with his ball club. And obviously he looked at last night and didn't see that standard being met by Cooper Pratt and maybe some others and decided to send a message. All right, let's take a quick break. Brewers, though, it's another trend. It's a trend that I feel like we talk about every single year. And I'm sure it's a trend that every team has dealt with every single year. But right now, another issue for the Brewers is runners in scoring position. Not able to get those runs across the board. That, to me, was the biggest issue in last night's game. That was the biggest one. You can't be in a situation where you've got a runner at third and a runner at second with nobody out, and you strike out looking, and then, a great catch by Lindor. But you got to get at least one of those across the board, for crying out loud. And then you open up the 10th inning with the top of your order, the top of your lineup, and Hamilton at second, and he doesn't move at all. Not great. We'll talk some more Brewers coming up after these quick words. Your vehicle is more than just a way to get from one place to another. It's how you get to work, take the kids to school, you run some errands, and you get where you need to go. So when an accident or unexpected damage puts your vehicle out of commission, you got to trust the team at Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire. Their experienced professionals are dedicated to quality collision repairs and dependable service, helping make the repair process as smooth as possible. Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, when you need them, they'll get you back on the road. Hey, speaking of Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire, we've got that Superior Auto Body Team of the Week. You can head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, or you can find the post on the Sports Talk Facebook page and vote for the Team of the Week. Team of the Week. We're going to be doing this throughout the year, but it'll be more than just football once we get really going in here. But shout out to our friend Brandon Berg for coming up with the nominations. We've got Colfax football, who snapped a 26-game losing streak. Fall Creek football with a win over rival Altoona, and then Lake Holcomb football with a 36-0 win over Winter Birchwood. Most points scored in a game since 2023. So again, you can head to our website. We've got the image on the homepage there, so you can click on that. I'll take you to the poll, or find the link on our Sports Talk Facebook page and take a vote. I know Colfax is they're really trying to get the vote out there. Colfax football fans, they're pushing it on social media. They want this. They want this week one Team of the Week. So big thanks for everybody who has voted so far. A couple texts. We got Barb also too saying, yes, that move didn't make the loss. Too many left on base. Shouldn't have came down to that run. Another texter, Brandon G, says, I watched the hit. Looked like a jab shot. Pratt wasn't sure where the ball was when he did start running. So hard to say that it should have been a double. What's concerning to me is the Brewers running game, as they aren't doing it, and how they are not putting the ball in play with runners in scoring position. Need to do something different. And I initially thought that's why Hamilton came in to swipe a bag. Mike says, every youth coach should show their kids this situation and how everyone involved handled it. Great teaching tool, and everyone will become better from this. Honestly, Mike, that was kind of one of the first things I thought of too. It's like every first base coach, every youth league coach, it's like the main thing we tell those kids, right? Don't watch the ball, hustle out of the box, run through it. Yeah, that's honestly one of the very first things I thought of too, is like, oh, that's like every youth baseball coach's almost dream scenario teaching tool was that play. But runners in scoring position is just, it's not been great for the Brewers here as of late. 4 for 26 in their last 2 games. Yeah. Yikes. That is something that cannot happen in the postseason for sure. There's no way the Brewers are going to win in the postseason if they continue to put up numbers like that. Pitching did their thing last night. Starting pitching, bullpen, they kept the Brewers in the game. They did it. They did their job, and they did their job well. You cannot put up numbers like they did last night with runners in scoring position when they had plenty of opportunities to take that lead, to retake that lead, to get the job done. 2 for 14 last night. Especially for a team that relies on small ball or doesn't hit home runs, however you want to phrase it. That is unacceptable. And that is something that this ball club cannot do in the postseason. Just they can't get away with it. You're putting so much pressure on that pitching, and a tip of the cap, hat tip to the pitching, because more times than not this year, they've held up their end of the bargain. The offense has to be better in those situations. Offensive numbers, on base, average, runs. Yeah, Brewers, they're one of the best. But again, it's almost like when you get to the postseason, what we were saying a little bit earlier, you might have to be a little bit more perfect. You might have to do just a little bit more. You might have to be a little bit more aggressive. That's just the name of the game because that's the team the Brewers have. They're not going to have somebody who can, a couple batters in that lineup that could change the game with the swing of a bat. Talking about the home run ball, talking about the deep ball. It's not going to happen. So they're going to have to do all the little things right. And almost, I hate to say it, but almost have to be perfect with those little things too. Dustin May gets the start tonight for the Brew Crew, and he is looking for a bounce-back game from his last performance. Can he get it done tonight for the Brewers? That's what the Crew's hoping for. That's what we're all hoping for here, too. So Dustin May getting the start for the Brewers. Robert, I almost want to say Robert Stack, Unsolved Mysteries. Robert Stack getting the start here for the Mets. It'll just be his 5th start this season. 4 games started, 0-2 with a 5.40 ERA. His last 2 games, though, coming off of a couple of no decisions. The 19th, he went up against the Padres, 4 1/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Back on the 14th against the Nationals, 4 1/3, 3 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Back on the 8th against Pittsburgh in a loss, 3 innings, 9 hits, 8 earned runs, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. All right. The pitcher who walks. He's been walking some dudes here as of late. You got a Brewers order, a Brewers lineup that is, more times than not, pretty patient at the plate. Let's see that on display. I mean, his first start of the year, Miami, it was a loss, but he was solid in that game. 5-0, 1 earned run, gave up a solo shot, 4 strikes, no walks. But since then, a little bit of some command issues. The flip side, you've got Dustin May, and you got batters with some experience going up against him, probably a couple games worth. Lindor, 5 career at-bats, does have a home run against him, but just 200. Think for me now, Dustin May, after the command issues that we saw against the Mariners back on the 19th, bounce back from it. Here we go, bounce back from it. Let's see the Dustin May that we saw against the Padres. Let's see the Dustin May that we saw against the Pirates. Should be pretty fresh. I mean, just a couple innings thrown in that Mariners game. So bounce back. Go out there. Set the tone early. But offensively, for crying out loud, let's give him some run support, okay? Let's go out there and let's put up a cricket number right away. I fully expect the Brewers tonight to be extra dialed in, extra focused, maybe even a little bit more pep in their step, if you will. Really tuned in for tonight's game and attempting to do all the small things right. That's the expectation I have for this ball club for tonight. Will they do it? Will they be able to accomplish that? Well, we'll find out. First pitch, 6:10. Coverage will begin on your radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM, about 35 minutes prior. All right, coming up in just a little bit, we'll talk some Pack as we get set for joint practice with the Cardinals today. Training camp essentially ends today, too. It's the final public practice, and then we've got the final preseason game on Friday. So this is a day because we're not going to see a lot of the starters, like some of the main starters on Friday. So good work for Jordan Love for this offense. Talk about bounce-back performances. Maybe the offense looking to bounce back because the defense has kind of been kicking their butt here as of late, or at least in the last practice between the two ball clubs. So I'm sure the Packers are looking forward to maybe hitting somebody else besides their own teammates. But we'll talk some green and gold, and I mean, I'm curious to hear from two versions of Packers fans here. One, maybe who has never been to a Lambeau Field or to a Packers game, with some of the numbers that have come out, the Packers average ticket price for this year is top 5 most expensive in the league. When you hear that, it's a bucket list. The Packers have a sign up at Lambeau Field that says today is somebody's bucket list. Is it getting priced out for you? And the other part is for the people who are like the regulars that go and want to go every year, or are you at the point like, man, I can't, I don't know. Or is it Green Bay and you just gobble that stuff up? So football talk coming up here a little bit later on. Don't forget, it is a What If Wednesday. Give you some fun what if so I can throw out to the rest of the class. And then what are we doing here? What's a sports story? What's a sports thing where you'd be like, what are we doing here? Probably the college stuff. That'd be a really good example. All right, we got to take a quick break, but we'll be back after these few words. Looking for your next great night out? Well, you need to make it the VFW Post at 305 in Eau Claire with some live music, some exciting events happening throughout the month, great food, cold beverages, and a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Hey, there's always a reason to stop by, whether you're meeting up with friends or you're looking for something fun to do. The VFW Post 305 has something for everyone. Make sure you're following the VFW Post 305 on Facebook to stay up to date on all their latest events and entertainment. That's the VFW Post 305, located 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. You know, Surveyor, I was going to talk about it a little bit. Here's the thing. He says, DK, I don't know if you talked about it yet, but isn't it a coincidence that Josh Sweat was cleared and taken off the PUP list on Monday, just 2 days before joint practice with one team that Sweat wanted to be traded to? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it seems like the Ducks are lining up. I learned from last year with Micah, never say never. I don't see that happening. I mean, there's Joey Porter Jr. stuff out there. There's all this. I think it's, for me, it's a little conspiracy theory, sort of thing. And the thing is, so this year his cap hit is fairly reasonable. If you look at it, he's $16.4 million cap hit. After that, then it explodes. So there is a potential out. I mean, if you look at it, what would be his dead cap hit? You're taking on a dead cap hit. Okay, you're about $16.5 million. Never say never. I don't know if that has a whole lot to do with, him being taken off the PUP list, and now it's going up against Green Bay here. I struggle to see that, because the other part of this here thing is if we are looking at it from a contract thing. All right. You got to sign Tucker Kraft, which they're going to do this year. They're going to extend him. But you seriously have to consider now contracts for after this year. You're going to have to figure out contracts for a boatload of players. If Jordan Morgan plays incredibly well, you're going to have to sign him. Evan Williams, if he continues to play incredibly well, you're going to have to sign him. Edrin Cooper, if he plays incredibly well, you're going to have to sign him. And Lucas Van Ness, if he plays incredibly well this year, they're probably going to have to sign him too. That's a lot of pay raises to put on there. Obviously, Goody and Russ Ball are a lot smarter when it comes to the cap than I am. And when it comes to that, I don't know. I feel like Arizona would have to eat up a lot of that contract, and we'll see how much they're willing to do so. But there's a definite connection. Jonathan Gannon, Sweat, not only with his time with the Cardinals, but with Philly. So there's no doubt about it. I wouldn't put it at a 0% chance of happening. So, but we'll talk some more Green and Gold coming up in the next hour here as we get set for joint practice between the Packers and Cardinals. So we got a couple minutes left to the top of the hour. Good morning, Morgs.
How's it going, Kasper?
I'm okay. How are you?
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, like if you had to give yourself a star rating, 1 to 5.
About a 3. I could use a pumpkin spice iced coffee right now.
No, you could maybe in like 3 weeks.
No. I need one now.
Are you one of those crazy people then where you walk into the stores and see the Christmas stuff trickling in that you're like, yeah, because it's way too soon, man.
It's too soon for that right now.
Okay.
Right now.
What about Halloween?
Halloween's not too soon right now. No.
Ready to jump in? Yeah. Have you noticed we've started accelerating everything, though?
Oh, yeah.
The timelines are being pushed up. It goes like 4th of July, Halloween. It used to be.
After 4th of July, I was already back to school.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And I swear.
And that's a holiday now?
It used to be Thanksgiving, then Christmas full on. Now it's Halloween miss. It's a mashup of Halloween and Christmas at the same time. It's nuts.
It's like the Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's just the nightmare right now.
Hey,
Wild Card Wednesday, you're not getting off the hook. You got to pick a number between 1 and 30, and then we're going to have you answer whatever comes up.
We'll go 26.
A belief that you hold that most people might disagree with. Like, I have thick crust pizzas better than thin.
Oh, that is so awful.
I knew we could get him to grunt.
That is so awful.
Except it's correct.
No, it's not. And we've gone through this before, and you are in the minority.
So this is about you. What's a belief that you have that other people might not agree with?
I'll just say, I mean, there's probably a lot of them. Rocky 2 is the best Rocky movie in the franchise.
Here's another thing. Like I'm fine with going down the laundry list of unpopular opinions. I don't enjoy baths. Everyone's like, take a bath. That'll help you relax. I'm like, ew.
I'm 40. I don't take baths
You're just
anymore.
sitting in your own, marinating in your own bath. And then your fingers get all pruny and like, there's nothing about
That's
baths
disgusting.
that I like.
No.
Where do you fall on naps?
I don't like them, but I have to take them.
So you're forced to take naps.
Yeah.
But like a toddler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Social media. We're going to talk about an influencer or celebrity that you think is overrated. Go.
Everybody that's on YouTube that's got like millions of followers in these big houses that my kid watches.
Because then they think that's reality.
Yes.
Yes.
Like you're doing stupid crap and you're getting paid a boatload of money for doing what?
Unwrapping something?
Yeah.
Unboxing? Yeah, I don't understand it either.
No.
All right. So we're going to ask you the next one. The last time something scared you, besides pumpkin spice latte starting now.
Pumpkin spice latte. I could really go for one right now.
All right, guys, I'm going to pull back the curtain here in the studio with us today. Kasper has a little whiteboard that says pumpkin spice is back.
Yeah.
It's like a rally cry.
I know. What was the question again?
The last thing that scared you.
The last thing that scared me.
Did you watch any Unsolved Mysteries recently? Because that usually scares the crap out of you.
I started to watch a movie, but then I fell asleep. It's supposed to be really, really creepy.
What is it?
Let me see if Holcomb?
What's that about?
Some witch. It's got Adam Scott from Step Brothers. That guy, like
Okay. Yeah, that guy. I know that guy.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I fell asleep like 10 minutes into it. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Well, you owe us a better review than that.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, Morgs.
Anytime.
1 in, 3 more to go. We'll be back. All right, here we go. Second hour kicks off right now on this Wednesday morning. What up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out and making us a part of your starts. Whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Maybe you're streaming us up online at sportstalk1051.com. You got the video stream up and rolling, Facebook, YouTube. Also, you can download the app, Wisco Sports App. Take a listen on there, the Alexa devices too. So multiple ways for you to be tuning in. We got that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. You can hit us up with some messages, 715-830-1912, or hang out in the Section 105 chats on our video stream. Coming up in about an hour, we'll chat with Ty from Slab Factory in our bi-weekly chat. A little bit about the hobby. Always a good conversation with Ty, so looking forward to that. And as a reminder, all right, as a reminder here too, that if you miss a portion of that conversation or you miss that conversation, our chats with Ty are always available on the Man Cave podcast. So don't forget to follow, subscribe to the Man Cave podcast. We've been increasing in our listens and downloads, so I can't thank you all enough. I can't thank you all enough for that. Let's keep her up. Now, if you can continue to give us some 5-star ratings and a positive review, or even just a review, if you want to give like a recipe to your grandma's favorite cookies or something like that, hey, that just helps the algorithms. All right, it spreads them out. Okay, just go ahead and do that. But anyways, that's like on Apple and Spotify. So, but that'll be coming up in about an hour. It is a What If Wednesday. So hey, if you got any good sports what ifs. I mean, you could say we were talking Brewers last hour. What if Cooper Pratt stayed in the game? Would that have made the difference? I don't know, but that's a what if. What are we doing here? Can look at the college world for that one, right? Man, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So hit me up. I want to hear. There's no right or wrong answer in this thing. So Packers wise, we've got training camp essentially wrapping up today. It's joint practice time. Joint practice with the Arizona Cardinals. And you're starting to see this trend, right? You're starting to see this trend of teams doing this more and more, and really teams taking more out of these joint practices than really anything. I mean, more so than preseason games. I know there's been some talk out there. Could that be, potentially a change? Could that potentially, where you see teams do more joint practices and no preseason games? Yeah, I don't know. Never say never again. I would never say never, but we still eat up a lot of preseason tickets, especially if you're Packers fans. But that's why we're not going to see Jordan Love. We're not going to see some of the starters play on Friday because of this joint practice today. So that's where I'll be curious to follow along with a lot of the updates and kind of taking a look at who's kind of balling out and maybe who's having a little bit of a rough time at camp. So kind of our last impression for some of these players, not necessarily the bottom of I should say bottom of the roster. It's not necessarily the last impression for these guys that are maybe on that roster bubble. But if they could go out there today and make some plays and go out there and ball out, it's going to improve their chances. Maybe one of those wide receivers like a Shepard or whomever. Strong at running back. I look at it for these guys who are out. I look at it twofold, really, for this team going up against the Cardinals in this joint practice. One, from the starters, this is going to be really kind of your last good work before the regular season begins. And you have an opportunity to do it against a different opponent. And the fact, too, remember, Matt LaFleur said a little bit earlier this week that it might be open up the playbook just a little bit because he trusts his brother that they're not going to go out there and leak that film to other teams. So I look at it from a starter's point of view, like this is going to be some good work that you can be able to go out there, maybe do some plays that you normally wouldn't do, that you kind of wait for the regular season, get some work in on that, get some practice in on that. So I want these starters for Green Bay to come in today with that approach, like, hey, this is kind of our main final tune-up before you get into the regular season schedule. You got to come in super focused, ready to go, put in some quality work today. Don't get hurt. That's probably the main thing, right? We don't want anybody getting hurt. But you got to put in some quality work from the starters. It's kind of your final tune-up before, again, getting ready for that practice or that trade or regular season schedule. And then, those guys that are maybe hovering on that line, that cut line, those tough decision guys. We talked a lot about the wide receivers. Use this as another opportunity. Your opportunities are running out. You got 2 more chances to make a name for yourself. Maybe not necessarily for the Packers, but hey, you got another team that's coming in here. Maybe impress them. Talking about the Shepherds, talking about the Strongs, talking about some of these other guys. That it's a numbers game here, and I truthfully believe that there's going to be a couple players that this Packers team, if they put them on waivers, they've got a shot to be picked up by another team on waivers. And it might be one of those wide receivers. Or maybe they'll find their way back on the practice squad for the Packers. That's probably what Green Bay's really hoping for, but it's definitely a risk. Cutdown day, by the way, is the NFL roster cutdown day to establish the final 53 is on Sunday. Sunday by 6 p.m. 6 p.m. So it's going to be just a couple days right after that final preseason game. So looking at NFL.com does have a list of cut cash trade targets. And when you look at, Green Bay's not listed on here as potentially trading anybody, but you kind of look at it as like, okay, is there somebody out there that maybe Green Bay could possibly look at? You looking at cornerbacks, right? Maybe a running back here or there. For the Chiefs, they listed Christian Fulton. NFL.com says, I don't think general manager Brett Veach will outright cut Fulton, who was solid in 8 games last season. But if I was a team needing a corner help, I'd inquire about a trade. Just kind of looking at some maybe other options out there. I forgot Andy Dalton was with the Eagles now. Ooh. But I do think we're going to see some trades. Maybe not necessarily by the Packers, but we've seen it the last couple of years. And we've started to see a couple more. I know the Patriots and Texas just made a trade. But we're going to start to see, I think, in the next few days here, before that deadline, before that cutdown day, we're going to see some trades. And a lot of it, I think, is because we've seen those moves based off the rule change that happened a few years ago, where, remember, there was 2 cutdown days? And it really never made sense when you think about it. And I know Goody talked about it last week when I was there at his presser. From a front office standpoint, from a team standpoint, why have cutdowns heading into the final game of the preseason? And then you're almost kind of forced to play guys that you don't want to play maybe in that final preseason game. That final preseason game should be mostly for those guys that aren't probably going to make the team or still have a shot to make an impression. So I like the fact that there's just one cutdown day too. It helps teams out in that aspect as well. But that rule also kind of boosted up some potential trades, because now, all right, teams might now want to take a chance on not getting that guy on, waiting for him to see if he goes on waivers, and then you put a waiver claim on him, but then, sorry, somebody else picked him up and they were higher up on the priority list. A la Green Bay sending a 7th-round pick from Malik Willis. So there's that example from Green Bay from a couple of years ago. Could have waited to see. Malik was probably going to be released by the Titans that year, but Green Bay wanted to ensure themselves that they were going to get him, so they sent a 7th-round pick. We've seen more of that the last few years. I could potentially see that happening here for some teams. Not necessarily Green Bay, but, you got the Joey Porter stuff out there. You've got the Josh Sweat stuff out there. I don't know. I don't necessarily see it happening. Would they be great fits? Oh, heck yes. And if it happens, I would be ecstatic. As a Packers fan, I would be ecstatic. Love it. Would love it. First of all, they don't have a 1st-round pick next year. So not saying that they would use a 1st-round pick for either one of these guys, but would they be willing to trade from a quote-unquote loaded 2027 draft when they already don't have a 1st-round pick? Would they be willing to shell out more picks from that draft to acquire some of these guys? That's the unknown. It's easy for us to say, yeah, look at the Rams. Screw them picks, right? I don't know if Green Bay is going to operate that way. And it sounds like Joey Porter Jr., if you're going to acquire him, you're going to have to lock him up to a big deal, a long-term contract. Corner is definitely a need. There's no question about it. And CBS Sports, they did list Green Bay as a potential target, possible landing spot if Joey Porter Jr. is in fact traded. Says yet another NFC team with high expectations that is looking to separate itself from the pack. The Packers showed last year that they are willing to swing big when they traded for Parsons. It's worth wondering, whether Green Bay is considering a similar move now to add another notable player to its defense. Like the Steelers, the Packers are a franchise that measures itself only by championships. After falling short in the playoffs once again in 25, Packers are desperate to make a serious push in 26. That's why the Packers should be considered as a legitimate landing spot if Porter ends up on the trading block. If you had to pick between Sweat and Joey Porter Jr., who would you rather go out there and get? It's probably Porter Jr., right? You establish, you get a corner. It's him and Brandon Cisse as your 2 starters. You probably feel a lot better about that. The Sweat connection with Jonathan Gannon makes a ton of success, or a ton of sense. They're so familiar with each other. And then you factor in like, oh, man, Sweat, Micah Parsons, Van Ness. You're probably thinking about those Phillies teams with all those edge rushers or that defensive line. It's hard not to get excited about it. I don't know if it fits numbers-wise. I don't know if that's going to work. Jared says, I agree with you about the Packers trade for Joey Porter Jr. That would be absolutely insane, but I don't know if we would really want to sign him to a long-term contract like you're saying. And I did see some people say, could he be potentially the highest paid corner in the league? And you could say, well, he's not the best one, so why would he be the highest paid? We go through this with quarterbacks. It's how you reset the market, right? It's how you set the market. It's a timing thing. Are you heading into free agency when the cornerback or when the market is exploding? And Joey Porter Jr., yeah, he's getting there. It's like quarterbacks. It's not necessarily the best quarterback is the highest paid quarterback, whether it's total value or guaranteed money or average per year. Well, when you hit that market. And that's the case here with Porter Jr. I'd love it. I would love it if he suited up in the green and gold. I don't know. I don't know if Green Bay is willing to pay that price, both in trade comp and uh, maybe even financial. Really quick, Pro Football Focus just came out with their defensive grades. Green Bay, 11. Oh, no, excuse me, linebacker unit rankings. Linebacker unit rankings. My bad. 11th. San Francisco's 1, Philly's 2, Houston's 3, Seattle's 4, Chicago's 5, with the addition of Devin Bush. And then you got TJ Edwards. Jets 6, Miami 7, Detroit 8, Baltimore 9, Carolina 10, Green Bay 11. Edgerrin Cooper has impressed since arriving in the NFL, notching PFF grades above 75 in his first 2 years, while his grade dropped from an 85.6 as a rookie to a 75.8 last year. It's worth pointing out that it came on a sample size that was almost double of that his first year. The fact that he was still strong and a much bigger role is important. Zaire Franklin is expected to start next to him. After a trade from the Colts, he's coming off of a career-low 38 PFF grade last season, but did record PFF grades above 60 the 2 seasons prior. If Franklin can get back to that level, then he is perfectly adequate partner for Cooper. All right. We got to take a quick break. Back with more Packers chat coming up in just a little bit. School is back in session. Well, for some of you, the rest of you probably next week or so, like my kiddo. And well, that means the house maybe a little bit quieter, about to get a little quieter. But after the summer of kids, pets, muddy shoes, sports equipment, and everything else that comes with a busy family, your floors, they might be ready for a fresh start as well. This back to school season, give your home an upgrade with Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Hey, whether you're looking for some new carpet or maybe some luxury vinyl planks like the Rigid Max flooring, Carpet City Flooring Center has options for every room, every style, and every budget. So while the kids are back in the classroom, take a little time for your home. Stop by Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire and let their flooring experts help you find the perfect look for your space. Carpet City Flooring Center, helping you put your best floor forward. You can visit them in Eau Claire today and get your back-to-school home makeover started. Continuing to chat a little green and gold, Packers-wise, we've got joint practice today with the Cardinals, essentially the end of training camp because we've got the final preseason game coming up on Friday, and then roster cuts due by 6 p.m. on Sunday. With joint practice, and this is probably going to be the final good work for the starters, a lot of the starters like Jordan Love, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What are some of the biggest things you're going to be kind of following and taking away from joint practice today, Joe?
Well, you're looking at Aaron Banks' health. I think that's one of the first things to see is whether or not he's going to be able to go consecutive days. He has been on a restricted schedule because of the problems with the knee. And so I want to see if he's going to be healthy. I'd like to see Josh Jacobs lather up a little bit because he has not had a lot of time during this camp to kind of get his wheels going, so to speak. And again, obviously still a big question mark with Josh Jacobs' availability with the season coming up. Also want to see the defensive line rotation. I think what once started as a weakness or looked like a weakness, I think Green Bay has found surprising depth now on that defensive line. And they're playing from a position of strength now. You've got a Hargrave, you've got McClellan, you've got Wyatt, you've got Brinson, you've got Ford, you've got Brooks, you've got Anthony Campbell there. So I think you're playing from a position of depth, and you might be able to move one of those guys if you need help elsewhere. And so look at it just the depth chart and where is, for example, where's a Dennis Sutton in the depth chart. So I just want to see who's running with the ones, who's running with the twos, and then who's running with the threes, because that's going to be telltale as we head towards cut down day.
Has there been, you kind of mentioned one already, has there been a position group or player that throughout this training camp preseason that has maybe surprised you, impressed you, and then on the flip side, maybe kind of disappointed you? Maybe you had high expectations for them coming in and really hasn't lived up to those expectations.
I think Brandon Cisse has really stepped up, and again, second round pick. The expectations were high for him going in, but I think I'm surprised by how the game's not too big for him. And so I think from that standpoint, I've been impressed. Carrington Valentine on the flip side, it just seems like he continues. Again, he's been battling some injuries, but it just seems also that there's some regression there from him. And again, I had high hopes for him over the last couple of years, and it just seems he continues to maybe take a step back. I've also really been intrigued and interested in how much of a leadership position Zaire Franklin has stepped into. And again, whether it be promoting the new Packer rivalry clothing or just being outspoken in practice, Green Bay has really leaned on him. And I think that's interesting to see from a standpoint of just, going into this season. And again, all eyes are still on Marshawn Lloyd and what is he going to do? So, I think that defensive backfield, again, Brandon Cisse, I think has impressed the most. Carrington Valentine probably disappointed the most.
Looking at the offensive line, it's we know who the tackles are going to be, Morgan, Zebach, and we know the center with Sean Ryan. Jacob Monk has been getting a ton of reps with the ones. You mentioned Banks a little bit earlier. You got Burton over there. There's been some talk like, do you just start Burton and take your lumps with him because he's a rookie? Or do you go with Jacob Monk, who has been Gary 7 wide receivers? I think a lot of it's just going to be a numbers game depending on other positions and how they figure it out. But could you see a scenario where Green Bay carries 7? Is there one in particular that kind of stands out from the rest of the group?
Yeah, you could always, especially with moving parts early in the season and the pup squad, and obviously, counting him through, you Goldman's a lock, obviously, Christian Watson, Savion Williams, Jaden Reed. I think Sky Moore is a lock at this point. Bo Melton is a lock at this point, and then you got a couple of guys. You have Will Shepard, obviously, who showed a lot against Denver. You have Michael Sturdivant, and so he has shown some things. Even Isaiah Nayor has shown some things. Early on in the season, I think the roster has to be fluid, and you've got, again, the pup situation with some players, and so you might be carrying an extra position. I think a big question mark, though, when you look at the roster breakdown, is what do they do at the tight end position? Because you could keep 7 wide receivers, but you have some big-time question marks behind Tucker Kraft at the tight end position. Again, Josh Wiley looks like right now he is your number 2 tight end. Luke Musgrave has not practiced yet, and I don't know if he will. I don't know if Luke Musgrave is going to be a Green Bay Packer come the regular season. And so I think Green Bay has to make some moves. And so what it might be is you might go with 7 wide receivers and then make a couple of more moves depending on who gets cut, and then you can bring someone in. So you like what you've seen by some of those young wide receivers. And again, I think a few of them did step up against Denver, but it might be 7 wide receivers, and that might last a day until you go out, you pick someone up who's been cut, or again, you keep them on the roster because you've got that pup situation. So they could definitely go that direction, but I think a lot depends on where they go from a tight end standpoint as well.
Not all the time it doesn't happen, but sometimes we get it maybe a little bit of a surprise cut, like, oh, dang, they actually moved on from that guy. I'm surprised. Is there a guy that pops to the top of your mind when you think about a potential surprise cut for Green Bay on Sunday?
You know what? I wouldn't say a cut, but it wouldn't surprise me if Green Bay ends up moving Tyrod Taylor. And again, with how Kyle McCord has played this preseason, that would not surprise me if Green Bay decides to deal Tyrod Taylor. I don't think Tyrod Taylor gets cut, but I think if there's a team out there that's willing to give something up to Green Bay, you could see him on the move. Another guy that I think Green Bay could potentially move could be a Carl Brooks type of a player. So, and I don't see him being cut necessarily, but he could be a guy that if there's some interest there, you could certainly see maybe him being traded. But as far as surprise cuts outright, I just don't see it. I think for the most part, this roster is pretty much already set. I think it's the fringe positions that are being fought for right now. But as far as any guys on the roster that stand out that, wow, I'm surprising they cut him, I just don't see it this year.
What is the position group that you think is going to be the toughest decision for Goody, the coaching staff, to try to dwindle down on Sunday?
I think it's that defensive line, surprisingly. You've got a Stackhouse and a Campbell who right now, when you look at the depth chart, they're running with the 3s. And those guys, especially Campbell, he has really shown and flashed. So I think, you've got some guys there that I think can play. And I think Green Bay, surprisingly, again, has good depth there. So that might be a tough call. And you mentioned the wide receivers. There's some guys, again, talking about a Will Shepard, a Nayor, those kind of guys. Those could be tough decisions. And again, you look at it and say, can we sneak him back on the practice squad? And with some of those guys, it's probably going to be hard. So I would say that defensive line and then that wide receiver room are going to be probably the toughest decisions for Goody and his staff.
How much better do you feel about Trey Smack in the kicking situation?
A lot. This is a guy that when the lights go on, he performs. And you look at what he's done actually, even in practice since family night, it's impressive. It's impressive, and he seems to be very even keel. And obviously, we've seen the big leg, and I think Green Bay isn't going to be bashful to bring that out during the season. And so, much more confident, feeling a lot better. I know you and I talked, and it was been reported that early on in camp, it got to the point where LaFleur didn't even want the refs signaling good or no good from a field goal standpoint. And so, but you see him kicking games, and it's just a smooth operation. And that's what's most impressive about that, truly, is the fact that Matt Orzech has not been the long snapper. And so you don't even have what you considered going into the year as your number one operation with Trey Smack. So, yeah, feeling much better about that draft choice, feeling good about the return game with Sky Moore and what we've seen there. And actually, interestingly enough, that running back situation, Pierre Strong, like to see him back there as well. So I'm feeling better overall about Green Bay's special teams operations. And obviously, Trey Smack is kind of the headline there.
All right, before I let you go, give me maybe a player that you think just balls out this week or surprises this weekend and makes the team.
I think Kamal Hadden. I think he has stepped up, and I think he has put himself squarely on the radar to not only make this football team, but I think he actually gets reps. And they're playing him in the slot in that nickelback position. And again, you're seeing some players rotate through there, but I think he's a guy that not only makes this team, but I think he actually makes the two deep, and you're going to see him on the field this fall.
All right, Joe DeGuano joining us, chatting some green and gold. We appreciate the time, sir. Enjoy the rest of the week. And next week when we chat with you, we'll take a look at this 53-man roster and break it all down with you.
I can't wait, Dan. We are almost there and almost the regular season. Best time of the year. Looking forward to it, brother.
You have a good rest of your week, dude, and we'll catch up soon. Okay, sir?
All right, Dan. Take care.
You got it. There you go. There's Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning. Hey, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Fall sports are in full swing here across the Chippewa Valley, from Friday night football to volleyball, soccer, cross country. Athletes are competing and giving it their all. But when injuries happen, getting the right care matters. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine specializes in helping athletes getting back into the game with expert orthopedic care, sports medicine, and treatment that you can trust. Whether you are a high school athlete or a weekend warrior, their team is here to help keep you moving. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, your partner in staying active, healthy, and in the game. Coming up just past 8 o'clock here this morning, we'll catch up with Ty from Slab Factory for our bi-weekly chats on the card hobby. So, hey, if you have any questions, got any questions for Ty regarding card collecting, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Even though I think I ask stupid questions sometimes, there is no such thing as a stupid question. Please send them on over, okay? Ty wants to answer that. Ty wants to help you out. Text them on over, 715-830-1912, or you can send them on over to that Section 105 chats. All right, Section 105 chats on our YouTube or Facebook video stream. So we'll get to Ty coming up just past 8 o'clock. It is a What If Wednesday, so if you have any what ifs, you can send those on over, some good what if scenarios. Also, what are we doing here? Bo says, what are we doing here? WNBA and college football. So, yeah, I figured college would be it's not even just college football. We're seeing it in basketball too. But what else do we got here? Yeah, just kind of going through some of the messages. Definitely, I'll just kind of lump it all up into one for a lot of you. What are we doing here? College sports with the whole pros going back to the college level. So I'll just kind of, yeah. So SEC now draws a rule to stop NFL and NBA and WNBA players from returning. And we know the Big Ten. Yesterday we talked a little bit about it. But in a Big Ten, I think it was just the NFL one. I'm sure it'll expand more. But SEC, with a step-by-step explanation, the SEC announced its institutions are not permitted to have an athlete on its roster who has previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA draft and did not appropriately withdraw, signed a contract with an NFL or other professional football league, NBA, G League, or WNBA or affiliate team. Been listed on an NFL or other professional football league, NBA, G League, or WNBA roster. The SEC joined the Big Ten on Tuesday in its unanimous opposition to athletes leaving the NFL and returning to college teams, swiftly passing a new conference rule that gives Commissioner Greg Sankey full authority to enforce it with penalties. Does that mean, okay, so here's the thing, though, too. We're going to see this go back to court probably. Right? We're probably going to see this go back to court. So, just real the fundamental principle of the NCAA eligibility has been called into question again this month. This is from ESPN, following a flurry of news about Daquan Wright, who hoped to clear waivers with the Browns so he could return to college and play for LSU in what would be his 5th season of college eligibility. Wright's highly publicized situation is unprecedented, but it stood to become part of a trend this year because of an ongoing legal fight between the NCAA and athletes who are pursuing a 5th year. Wright dressed for the Browns preseason game against the Bills, but did not play. He was waived Monday and went unclaimed. He is currently available in the NCAA transfer portal after a judge in Louisiana granted him a temporary restraining order and an opportunity to return to college for a 5th year. Another athlete, star basketball player R.J. Lewis Jr., received a temporary injunction to play for LSU this season from a Louisiana judge on Monday, despite signing multiple NBA contracts. So, this isn't the end, though. This isn't the end. We're going to keep going. It's going to continue to blur the line, and honestly, it's probably going to go for a while here. But all right. we got to take a quick break because we're a little behind here. So we'll wrap up the second hour. We're already approaching halftime, man. Cruising on through. We're halfway through the program, halfway through the work week. How about that? All right. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. School is back in session, and that means the family schedule is back in full swing. School drop-offs, practices, games, activities, and all those miles in between can put plenty of wear and tear on your vehicle. Before your busy fall schedule gets too crazy, make sure your vehicle is ready to go. Bring it to AJM Automotive in Eau Claire for the service and repairs that you can count on. From routine maintenance to keeping your vehicle running right, AJM Automotive is here to help keep you and your family moving. School is back, life is busy, so make sure your vehicle is ready with the help from AJM Automotive. And to make things just a little bit easier, because that's what AJM Automotive is all about, is customer service. How about this? I I just saw this on Facebook. They're announcing the launch of their full service mobile department. Monday, August 31st, it's coming. Next Monday, all right? They'll be able to provide on-site oil changes, battery replacements, brake services. They anticipate expanding their service offerings as they progress. So if you want to inquire more, you can reach out to them. You can also check out their website. So what a cool thing AJM Automotive is doing too. Announcing their full service mobile department, making it easier for you to get the service that you need for your vehicle. All right. We only got about 5 minutes left to the top. So again, we'll kick off the third hour here. Chatting with Ty from Slab Factory. So we'll I'm not sure what go big or go home means, but we'll chat with Ty from Slab Factory coming up here. So final call for any questions that you may have for Ty in the card collecting world. Please text those on over to the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912. We'll get back to some Brewers talk as we preview Game 2 of this series between the Mets. Brewers looking to bounce back after last night's 3-2 loss in extra innings. Dustin May also looking to bounce back from his previous start. That'll be at 6:10 tonight. You can listen to that game on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Pre-game coverage starts 35 minutes prior. So about 5:35 this evening. Packers joint practice today, essentially the end of training camp after today. They'll have the final preseason game this Friday, and then roster cut downs coming up Sunday. So it's hot and heavy, man. Going to be here before you know it. Was it 2 weeks from today is when the NFL opens up with that Wednesday Australia game, 49ers-Rams? So, yeah, 2 weeks from today it opens up. Holy cow. Ugh. 2 weeks from this Sunday is when the Pack get going. Minnesota. After Friday, we're on to Minnesota. Think about that. We're on to Minnesota after Friday. They're already kind of focusing on Minnesota here a little bit, but kind of doing some little scouting and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so we'll talk some more green and gold, talk some Pack coming up in the final couple of hours here too. But I'm curious, just kind of an informal poll, because in the first hour we talked about Pat Murphy benching Cooper Pratt. What were your thoughts on it? Try to take the hindsight out of it, okay? I know the David Hamilton play at the end. A lot of people go in hindsight 2020. If Cooper Pratt was in there, then maybe it doesn't happen because Joey Ortiz is playing third base. But given a situation, and given Pat Murphy's reasonings and hearing from Cooper Pratt himself, right call by Pat Murphy? Do you kind of give him like, okay, that's a good manager there? Or you're like, yeah, maybe a little too extreme. Where are you on that? Try to take away, again, the hindsight 2020 of the final play of what happened last night defensively. Try to take that away. Okay, I know it might be hard. But try to ignore what that wide throw from David Hamilton. It looks like a few of you say, and you agree with Pat Murphy. And does Pat Murphy get the benefit of the doubt because of what he has done as manager for the Brewers for these last couple of years? Won a lot of games, right? Won a lot of games. So let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you. It's kind of an informal poll question that we'll have out there. So you can text that again, 715-830-1912, or hang out in the Section 105 chat room and give me your takes. Mark says, give the speech, Murph. Will one of you guys grow blank and get up there and get a big hit and drive in some runs for us? Got to do like the Bull Durham one. Throw the bats into showers. See the ball. You hit the ball, right? But all right, shot clock's going to cut me off. We got some news updates, and we'll be back to kick off the third quarter. the third quarter. We're halfway through this work week. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. All right, here we go. Third hour kicks off right now. Third quarter is fully underway. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start on this August 26th. Coming up, we'll get to some what ifs. What are we doing here Wednesdays? We'll get back some more baseball talk. Game 2 between Brewers Mets tonight. Dustin May looking for a bounce back game. Brewers looking for a bounce back game after dropping last night's 3-2 game in extra innings. Trading camp essentially wrapping up today for the Packers, as we've got joint practice with the Cardinals off day yesterday or tomorrow, and then the final preseason game coming up Friday at Lambeau Field. So we'll get to those all coming up here in just a little bit, but it's time. It's time to catch up with our good friends, Ty from Slab Factory. It's been a couple weeks. How you doing, dude?
I'm good.
Yeah, everything going good at the shop. Everything's busy and
everything's busy. It's also a weird time of year for us. We the shop itself sometimes feels a little bit slow, but it's but our numbers don't really tend to drop off because people are trying to jump into the hobby every which way.
Yeah.
But we just have a little bit less of that foot traffic in the summer. Everyone's getting their last hit of lake time and golf time and pool time and all that stuff. But we've been busy behind the scenes and keep working to improve what's going on over at the shop.
Nice. So we got a lot to I was going to say dissect, but discuss here. I know you've got some cards and I guess I've been seeing some stuff about somebody, I think it was actually a few weeks ago, talked about some of the older cards, why, rookies maybe not worth as much as some of the newer ones. Well, now I was reading last night, Barry Sanders, Peyton Manning, even Jordan. We've talked a lot about Jordan. Some of their rookie cards now are maybe going up in value. It seems like some of the older ones coming back.
Yeah. And that has a lot to do with that sort of, GOAT market talk that we've talked about, greatest of all time market. Which is not exclusive to Jordan and LeBron and all that stuff. We've seen there was a bit of a lull after the National Card Show, and then it picked right back up, and some other guys have really gotten in the mix, and Shaq's stuff is way up.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Yes, Barry Sanders stuff is up over the last month. Some of these guys that even guys like your guy Penny are up a little bit over the last couple of months. You've started to see some increases across the board in that sort of, as they call it, the GOAT market. I think collectors used to be really obsessed with the prospect. And I don't know if it's because of some lackluster classes in certain sports recently, right? I mean, you had the hype of Wembanyama, but in the NBA, last year, Cooper Flagg is obviously an unbelievable rookie, but I felt like I heard less about him in the last year than I did about Jordan. Whereas when LaMelo and Anthony Edwards were rookies, or when Zion and Ja were rookies, that's all you heard about. It was not about Michael Jordan, right? And I think that the prospecting thing is it's not going by the wayside. People are still doing it, but the nice thing about some of these, GOAT market cards is that while a lot of them were really overprinted, you can still find rarity in the ones that are high quality, the ones that are, PSA 10, PSA 9, those are the high quality ones. So some of these inserts are going up. The That's Jam insert, I don't know if you've heard of that one.
No.
It's like an acetate card that's it almost looks like a Smucker's label.
Oh, really?
Like a jelly label. Yeah.
Okay.
That insert is way up. Of course, I moved the only two I had right before they shot up. But anyways, things like that, people are looking for that sort of interesting, Shaq card, Kevin Garnett card, all those different guys that, maybe didn't have the same hobby love that they had previously.
You talk about GOAT markets, and something I always kind of thought about. Obviously, Brady, when he first came in, nobody really expected probably Brady, rookie cards to become Brady.
Right.
And now, I mean, has that, how do people approach that? Because sometimes we don't know who the next GOAT's going to be,
Yeah, and that's why the prospecting thing was so enticing and is so enticing, right? That's why people were spending such big money on Wembanyama last year. But it's been a while since we've had a football prospect. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, where people are like, oh, this could be the next Tom Brady, right? I don't think that there's that guy anytime. I think it's hard to develop quarterbacks. I think that you've seen some really incredible stuff from like Drake May and Bo Nix, considering how young they are. Like Jaden Daniels in his first season, so like those guys have had their peaks and valleys of performance and subsequent card sales. But like football's different now. It's really hard to put a team together that is going to win. It's hard to build a dynasty that's going to win for 10 years,
right.
And like that's something that I think injuries have really played a role in. But like a guy like Tom Brady, you may not see another Tom Brady in the way that he's statistically. But like I say that, but like Peyton Manning was also statistically every bit the quarterback Tom Brady was, just didn't have all the Super Bowls,
right.
Obviously won his two Super Bowls. But his market is nothing near Tom Brady's. So maybe there's a little bit of prospecting there, right? Maybe you start snatching up some Peyton Mannings thinking, all right, maybe he's the next guy. But anyway, all of this to say, there is no grabbing that next Tom Brady, but the market is too aware right now. It's too educated. Back when you could grab, this is a great story. We have a customer who comes in often and he brings in stuff that he's had in storage for years and years. And when he does, we work out a deal, we buy it from him, put it in the shop, sell it. And he has some really great stories attached to some of these, storage unit cards. And one of them is a Tom Brady card that we sold. I mean, we bought it from him at a good number for him. He was very happy with it. We sold it for, I think, $6,500. It was a Tom Brady rookie card.
Wow.
And it's numbered to 2,500. It's a popular SPX card. And then the person we sold it to recently told me that he sold it for over 10.
Wow.
And that's how much his market is like skyrocketing. But what's funny is he told me that's the person who came in and sold that to us. He said that he bought that for $50 at a card shop that used to be on London Road back in the, this would be early 2000s.
Was it like, I wonder if it was like the MVP card shop or something like that. I remember as a kid.
I couldn't tell you, but it was on London. He said it was on London Road, kind of over by like where like the Mexican restaurant is there. But he said that he picked that up for $50. And, for him, it was a 100x flip, So, I mean,
right.
He's pretty happy with it.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, the other part too with the Brady thing, because I mean, he was such a late draft pick. So there wasn't a whole lot of expectations kind of coming in with that. And I don't know how many cards of his were actually printed compared to like some top prospects.
So if you believe in Brock Purdy, that's
actually the name I was thinking.
So you can actually still get his stuff at a decent number. His numbers have been phenomenal. He's got a great yards per attempt, great completion percentage, like has had a lot of injuries around him and to himself. But like, he's a guy who doesn't have a ton of rookie cards printed. That's the other thing. So if you can get your hands on a rare Brock Purdy rookie, if you believe in the guy, that's one that's like one of the only examples I can think of. Cause otherwise all of these guys have their cards printed to the moon.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're talking literally the last pick in the draft. So there probably wasn't a lot of stuff printed.
No, his first one, he was in like a practice, shorts and in uni, so like it was in like the optic reprint or whatever. So yeah, just really interesting.
All right. So you've got some cards. Where do you want to kind of lead off?
We can go a couple different directions.
Yeah.
First, let's talk about Mike Baker authentication, which is something that has made headlines lately. Mike Baker used to work for PSA. He's one of the original PSA graders.
Okay.
He branched out on his own. I don't know how bitter that was. People sometimes tell the story as if he didn't like their standards anymore and left and whatever, right? That might just be a sales pitch for using his authentication services. Who knows? But so Mike Baker started MBA grading. That's M as in Mike. And MBA has their own slabs, but those are not particularly popular. Like grading with them is not particularly, who knows if that could change. But the big thing that they did, which was really smart and really like has launched the high end space to a new level, is they've done this. Like basically it's called a diamond crossover certification.
Okay.
And so I'll show a picture. This is one that we had done at the National because we had not, as a shop, had not done one before. But basically, this is an MBA 10, 10 plus pristine. Now, what that means is that if you were to grade this, let's say with like Beckett, it would have a shot at a pristine black label, right? Is what they're saying with this. They're saying that this is so clean that it's better than other PSA 10s of this card. Okay. So they looked at it, they evaluated it, and they decided that, and then they put this little gold diamond stamp on there. They have a black diamond certification, they have a gold diamond certification, silver, and bronze. And I think that's it. There might be like a platinum. I don't think so. But anyway, so the black is the top one. The gold is you'll see those more often, but it's still like a pristine top card. The bronze is basically saying, yeah, it got the right grade. Like,
yeah,
that's pretty much what it's saying. And this is an example of, why would you send a PSA 5? Well, they're basically saying someone sent this in trying to add value to their PSA 5 Michael Jordan Atomic Refractor, which is already by itself, a raw card sold for, I think, over $3,000 recently.
Okay.
The Atomic Refractor of his best cuts card. They're trying to add value where there might have been a ceiling previously on this PSA 5 or this PSA 10 Umbreon. They're raising the ceiling by having this service available that basically says whether or not this is a best of the best or not. And we've seen people send in, slabs to get this authentication that get rejected. So you can send it in and they might say it either didn't deserve this grade or it's lackluster in its eye appeal or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is something that some people are on one side, which I totally understand, going, this is really dumb. We're grading our grades now. Like what is that?
Yep.
Right. This is a fictitious market ad. This is nothing. This is an NFT, like whatever. Like some people don't like it. And then obviously others, especially those who are taking advantage of it. And by the way, the market likes it because cards are selling for a significant amount more when they have that, when they're in the high end space. But some people like it because they think it, differentiates the high end market, allows for that sort of gap.
Interesting. So something to kind of maybe monitor a little bit more.
I think it's worth monitoring. I think, and if you have questions about it, stop in at the shop. We'll be doing a couple more of these. It's for science, and
right.
We also, of course, it's also nice that like this Umbreon increased in value the moment we put that sticker on it, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
or they put that sticker on it,
right?
So like obviously that's great. We'll send that one to auction shortly, and that's we'll see how much it actually increases it. But I think the market is maybe cooling a touch on it because I've seen a couple of cards with like a gold stamp that are selling for similar to just the regular graded ones. So I don't know if people are just sort of getting used to it and it's losing a little bit of hype, or if I'm just seeing a couple of one-off examples, because there have been some examples of especially super high-end cards that are 1.5x or even 2x the amount based on that.
Interesting. So it's almost like getting a second opinion on a doctor, kind of.
It really is, and from a guy who was the tops in the game at grading for a long time,
right?
And so the value is in Mike Baker. People respect his grading ability, his eye. He's been doing this for a very long time. So that's where the value is. And if you have questions about submitting to Mike Baker authentication or anything like that, we're not doing it at the shop right now or anything, but we will help you with it. Happy to talk you through it. We've now done it ourselves a couple of times. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of PSAs, you were talking a little bit about different colors with PSAs.
So this is more recently in the last couple of years. They added a service that was like an auto grade authentication that if you are not grading the card, depending on it's interesting because it depends on how you submit it through their system, but it'll come back with a blue label. And the reason for that is because they're basically trying to differentiate and tell the customer, hey, this is an autograph grade. Oh, this is not the card grade. Okay. So where it says Gem Mint 10,
yep,
It is an autograph grade. It is not a card grade, because people were getting confused when they would look at that, if it was in a red label, just like all the other ones, and they'd think that it was the card grade, right? So they differentiated at a certain point. And this is a Barry Sanders, and the reason to do this is if it's an aftermarket auto, right? So Barry Sanders signed this at an event or something like that. This is his 1989 rookie. But the auto grade is a 10, and that's what you see with that blue border. Is it differentiating? There's going to be plenty of red ones out there, because before they started doing this, there were plenty that were going out the door like that. So always keep an eye on that when you're looking at an aftermarket autograph. Make sure if it's the auto grade, it'll actually still say, just like this one does, it'll say right under here, auto grade.
Okay. So is that almost by default, or was it used to be by default? If you had an autograph card, they would just grade the autograph, or?
So no, you have to select the service.
Okay. Gotcha.
But like what I would recommend to anybody is grade the card and the service, or authenticate the card and grade the auto. Like right now, like stuff like this sells for a little bit less than if the card was an authentic and then graded a 10, because what happens is you see at the top left where it has the information. It doesn't say Barry Sanders 1989 rookie, because they didn't authenticate the card.
Gotcha. Okay.
It is an authentic card. There's no doubt about it, but they didn't authenticate it. So it just says trading card, Barry Sanders, PSA DNA certified.
Gotcha. Okay.
So again, I'm getting into the weeds on grading a little bit and authentication, but I always tell customers, like, we don't do authentication submissions with PSA when it comes to aftermarket autos and stuff like that. There was a kid yesterday that came in with a Bart Starr autograph. Pretty cool. But I told them, bring it, come in sometime and I'll walk through the authentication with you. Happy to talk you through how to do it. We do not submit for authentication. There's too many like insurance gaps and things like that with those types of submissions.
I'm glad you brought that up, because now I want to go home and like check my Don Hudson card. That's an autographed one, and see the difference on that stuff. So I never thought of that.
Something to look out for.
Yeah. Absolutely. You got a couple other cards.
I do.
To show us here too.
I realized before that I don't think I've ever brought in a Beckett Black Label.
Yeah.
That's another one where, like, depending on the card and depending on the rarity, it can really massively increase the value of the card if it grades a Black Label. So Black Label, Beckett is notoriously the most difficult grade to get, like a 10 in. Even their pristine 10, which is just or not pristine 10. Even their like regular 10, which is like a gold label 10, which means that it has 3 10 subgrades and 1 9.5.
Okay.
That's very hard to get. But a Black Label, which is all 10s, like this one,
that Otani,
is a very difficult grade to get. And so, this one, for example, in a PSA 10, it's about $1,000, maybe not quite, like $700, $800 in a PSA 10. Black Label is more like $3,000.
Whoa,
it's a big leap, because but it'll depend on the levels and stuff like that. Population. This is the only one of that in a Black Label.
Okay.
The values on Black Labels are usually due to population and obviously difficulty to grade. So, like, have you ever heard of the Bubble Mew?
No.
It's a Pokemon card that is it's a Mew card where the Mew is blue, which is a shiny, and blue and in like a bubble. And within this bubble, it's just floating there. The card art is beautiful. It's a very difficult card to pull from Paldean Fates, which came out a few years ago. And that card when it's just raw is about $1,000. PSA 10 is, I can't remember right now, I think it's around 3. And a Black Label sold for over $200,000. The reason for it is because that card only has 2 Beckett Black Labels, and there are tens of thousands of them graded. The population count on it is tens of thousands, but only 2 of them got Black Labels because they have notoriously bad quality control from that particular set. So that's the rarity thing people are looking for. That's that's the interesting thing about something like a black label. Obviously that's not going to be the case with a card like this,
Right.
but with a card that has thousands and thousands of them graded and only 2 of them got black labels, that's rarity right there. And
Yeah.
that's what people are looking for. So it's just, it's another, rarity conversation.
Wow. Can you show those penny cards too that
Yeah,
you,
sure.
you brought?
Yeah. I'll show these last few cards. I
Yeah.
brought these more to just show Dan, and,
Yeah.
and I'll show you guys too. This is a recent pickup. I was lucky enough to come across the Christian Watson gold vinyl 1/1 rated rookie autograph.
Mhm.
I love this card because it might be if it's not Christian Watson's best card, it's one of them.
Mhm.
One of maybe the best 5 cards that'll be out there for him. His Prism Black Finite is probably better. His National Treasures, Shield autograph, that's somewhere out there is probably better. But it's certainly a top 5 Christian Watson card. I believe in Christian Watson. I really am excited for him this season.
Yeah.
He was awesome last season when he was, able to play. So,
Exactly.
yeah, certainly believe. And then, got price tags sticking on the front of them because I just picked these up from a card shop in Minnesota. But this is actually a good example of how you can hunt for deals sometimes. These are a couple of penny cards that I brought more for Dan to check out, but these are a couple of really popular inserts. I brought in the Jordan Netrageous one time.
Right. Yep.
But this is the Penny Hardaway Netrageous and the Penny Hardaway Electrifying. And I found them for $100 each, sitting in a case in a Minnesota card shop. You dig into comps when you get to the card shop, look in the case, see what's in there, kind of go, all right, it looks like the last couple of these, depending on condition, have actually sold for more than that. So like the Netrageous is actually closer to 150. The Electrifying is closer to 130. So right there, that's $80. I can just, if I'm able to sell them for those numbers, that I just profited, right? So like look for those deals when you walk into those card shops. And by the way, when you see a deal like that, don't feel like you got to beat them up on the price tag, because then they'll start comping. Then they'll start going, well, actually, the price tag should be this. And then
Right.
if depending on who it is, they might change the price on you. If you did that at our shop, we wouldn't do that. We would probably just say, we'll be firm at our sticker because we're already priced really well.
Mhm.
But that's where you want to take advantage.
When you do that, then is that like you look on eBay, or is that just kind of like
You can do it on eBay, you can do it in the card shop, or where am I going to sell it? Is that what you're saying?
or no, like when you look at the comps sort of
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
like
yeah,
when
yeah.
you kind of
So, this is an example of I would love to maybe we should probably just like record a video sometime,
Yeah.
honestly. We use Card Ladder at the card shop.
okay.
It's an app that has a paid subscription. And that, paid subscription is, it's like 17 a month or something like that. But the same data is pulled when you use something like 130 points. So it's 130 point. And 130 point is a site where you can dig into comps and see what they most recently sold for. When you're on eBay, depending on where you're looking, you might be seeing like best offer accepted stuff, inaccurate stuff, like things like that. So it's just like, there's different, ways to dig into it. I really should just make a video. I've been meaning to do that for a while. So maybe this is the thing I need to do to talk through that.
Yeah, because I will go on eBay, and eBay sometimes is like, that card's really, they're asking like $1,000. Then I see like another
Don't
one's
worry
like
about
$2.
asking price.
Yeah.
Don't look at asking price.
Okay.
You did like asking price can be valuable if it's a rare card.
Mhm.
And let's say, let's say this one, the last time it sold for $2,500, but the only one that's listed is $3,500, and there's no other ones out there, and you have an opportunity to buy one for $3,000. You might say, yeah, okay, I'll buy it for $500 over last comp because the only one that's out there is listed for $35,000.
Mhm.
It's been a while since it's sold, things you can use logic in digging into these. And, sometimes like, I bought a LeBron gold medallion, PSA 10 from 2007. It had a really low population count, 23 of them in existence. And it hadn't sold since December for $900 something. I bought it for 14, which was, again, according to a lot of people, would be too high.
Right.
It just sold at auction with Fanatics for 2,300. So sometimes you buy something over comps because it's rare. You haven't seen a sale in a while.
Right.
You know where his market is headed, and you just take that leap.
Mhm.
These are the kinds of things that we can talk you through anytime. People come into the shop and they'll be like, "Hey, what do you think of this buy? Show me something on eBay." And you've done the same thing.
I've done the same thing.
So,
Yes.
anyway, I say that to say that we are a network of people all trying to get really cool cards for the best price we can, and try to get if we're flipping, I'm here to support that. If we're collecting, I'm here to support that. That's what we're all about.
Really quick last question, but I grew up in a generation, I think you kind of did too, with the price guides, Beckett's, sports cards, tough stuff.
Yeah.
And I know they still pro because Hudson just got one because Mizorowski was on the cover. And I'm like, man, this is even different when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like with the fluctuation of the markets, how accurate are those prices on there now?
So for what it's worth, I don't really look at those at all.
Yeah.
And the reason for it is I have everything I need at my fingertips with the Card Ladder app.
Yeah.
Card Ladder is great because it has I'll dig into this in the video that I've talked about and haven't made yet, but they have an index for players. Okay. So I can see based on, what their index looks like, how their sales have been going up or down. Shaq's index looks crazy right now for whatever reason. A few weeks ago, people were like, "I'm buying Shaq," and here we go. And so it moves too quickly for a price guide to accurately capture.
Yeah.
Something like Card Ladder and the index tool that it has, while not perfect, is phenomenal. And the other thing that I always do, and this is just a method that anybody can use on the greats, right? So guys that are not playing anymore, guys whose careers are over, but their cards are moving. Look at one of their more common rookie cards. Look at what it sold for 3 months ago. Look at what it sold for 6 months ago. Look at what it's selling for now. That is the most accurate depiction of whether or not a guy's market is up across the board. You can apply that to every one of his cards, right?
Yeah.
Or every one of her cards. So Barry Sanders is a good example. I checked this out yesterday because one of our employees was digging into this Barry card that he wanted to buy, and he was like, "Is Barry up right now?" And I was like, "Well, let's look at the rookies." So his rookie card, not the score rookie, but I looked at another one of his very common, the update traded one, or not traded. I think it's what it's called, even though he wasn't traded, but update traded. And you look at that rookie card and you can see that it was selling in a PSA 10 for $180 back in March or February, and is now selling for $250. Right. And you can see that consistent growth over that time period. I can apply that sort of range of growth to any one of his cards, extrapolated to, the value of the card. So that's a way that that's a little trick you can use to see if a guy's market is up or down.
That's so fascinating it goes so much deeper with a lot of that.
I'm telling you, this is too fun, man.
Yeah.
When you really get into it, it is really fun to just try to just see what's going on, try to dig into what's going on. It's just too fun.
Yeah. Ty, I think we go past our time every time
We
you're
really
in
do.
here.
Yeah,
So I appreciate it though. Plug for Slab Factory, hours, days of the week for this week.
Yeah. So I think we're going to keep what we had as summer hours, adding Monday. I think we're going to keep that going into the school year here.
Okay.
And we'll see if that goes through the whole winter, but we've got a good staff right now. We're feeling great about how everyone's doing. So, we are open Monday through Sunday, and we are open. The only day that's kind of weird is Mondays. We're open 2 to 7. Otherwise, it's either 11 to 7 or till 8. So
awesome. Ty, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with plenty more coming up after these few words. Hey, speaking of the Kid Cave podcast, now that school's going to be back in session and such, we are actually going to go live each time we do a episode of the Kid Cave podcast. The plan is to go live tonight at 4:30 after school programming, kiddos. Remember that when we were kids? Gosh, I'm trying to remember what were some of the go-tos. Like when I was older, late middle school, early high school, I mean, my after-school programming was ESPN. It was PTI and Sports Nation. Those were like my go-tos. I remember Jim Rome was on, but younger. Ooh, Goosebumps was on there. Heck yeah. Sometimes I'd have to put it in the old VHS and record some episodes. But a little after-school programming. I'm going to shoot for every Wednesday live because as of right now, that's the only day he doesn't have practice in either football or baseball. So, but going to shoot for tonight to do the first one live on Facebook and YouTube. So, big thanks again for Ty from Slab Factory. I know I learned something new every time when Ty's stopping by and stuff. He makes me jealous though with all those Penny Hardaway cards that he brings in all the time. Reminder, if you missed that conversation or a portion of it, or you want to re-listen to it, it is going to be available on the Man Cave podcast later on this morning. I think one thing I would love to do, once in a while I like to do a little show and tell. I would love it if any of you listening right now, you got a favorite card, show it. Show and tell. Text it, email it, Facebook it, Instagram it, Twitter it. I don't care. Do a little show and tell. Show what it is. Tell me about it. And I might share those with Ty the next time he's in too. So let's do a little show and tell. I'd love to see what some of you have. What's your favorite? Or maybe if you just want to do your whole collection. That's okay too. That's even better than okay. So yeah, we went a little long, so we'll have to play a little catch up in the breaks here. But Brewers wise, back at it tonight, 6:10. I want to know. Okay, I want to know. Do you agree with what Pat Murphy did last night with Cooper Pratt? Yay or nay? Okay, yay or nay? Looks like a lot of you, majority of you. There's a couple of you that said no, but a majority of you says yes. All right, give me your reasons why. Give me your reasons why. Tell you what, let's take that quick break right now so we can kind of get a little bit back on track. And Micah Parsons, all right, or I think if you're a Packers fan, you're waiting with a bated breath a little bit about, okay, when is Micah Parsons going to come back? When's he coming back? Maybe a little bit more of an update. We'll tell you what he had to say coming up after these few words. If you are from Wisconsin, which, I mean, most of you, can't say all of you, but most of you listening right now, you know there is something special about this time of year. Days, they're getting a little shorter. Evenings, mornings, cooling off a bit. And before you know it, hunting season will be here. I just saw 3 deer on my way to work early this morning. That means now is the time to get your gear ready, whether you need a new firearm or maybe some ammunition or just some expert advice. Make Tilden Gun your first stop. The folks at Tilden Gun, hey, they're not just there to sell you equipment. They're hunters as well. They know what works. They're happy to answer your questions, and they will help make sure that you are ready long before opening morning arrives. So don't wait until the last minute. Stop by Tilden Gun, get geared up, and start counting down the days to another great Wisconsin fall. Tilden Gun, helping Wisconsin hunters make the most of every season. Happy hunting and good luck, and be safe in the great outdoors. All right. So let's take a look at. So this is Micah Parsons yesterday, or was it yesterday or the other day? Might have been the other day on a Bleacher Reports. Looks like The Edge, Micah Parsons' own podcast here. Maybe a little bit of an update in terms of what he might be returning by. Kind of a time frame here. I'll play it, and I got thoughts, and I want your reaction. All right, audio courtesy from The Edge.
How is your rehab going? We getting ready to come back? What we doing?
I'm not gonna lie, the rehab is going really good. We're getting stronger. We moving a little bit now. We running. We starting to change the direction. It's coming along, bro.
All I've heard is week 6. Is that still the target?
I think the people really want week 6. I just want to come back when like I'm feeling like myself again.
You ain't gonna put a timetable on it. When you ready, you hopping on the
Yeah. I said week 6 be optimistic. Window opens the first week of October, and then 2-3 weeks of practice. But the reality is like you gotta feel like yourself. You gotta be moving again. I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself. Like that's a real feeling.
When you go out there, you're gonna be Micah.
Packer Nation, just know when I come back, it's gonna be up.
So, all right, maybe I'm overreacting too much. Now, I'm kind of wondering, could it go further than week 6? Is that a possibility that we've been so focused on? First, it was like, okay, it's going to be the Bears week 5, and then it was like, okay, week 6, Dallas Cowboys. But then hearing that, part of me is like, ooh, could it be a little bit longer? Could it be a little bit longer? I mean, if we're looking at, you got the Lions after the Cowboys. This stretch here, Bears, Cowboys, Lions, and even the Panthers, and you throw the Patriots in there, Vikings, Rams. Could it go a little bit longer? That's and now and it could just straight up be, you know what? Micah is just trying to put down the expectations. All right, hey, not going to put a certain date on there. Like you said, the fans. It's a story, right? Cowboys, Packers. Micah, Cowboys come to Lambeau this time. He makes his season debut against the Cowboys. It's the perfect story. It's the perfect storyline with this thing, right? Yeah, you'd love it to have it be the Bears. But if it can't be the Bears, like, okay, it's going to be the Cowboys. It's perfect. It's even a better story going up against his former team, right? So maybe he's just like, hey, I don't want to put a deadline on it. I want to make sure when I'm back, I'm ready to go. Hey, maybe it'll be sooner. Maybe it'll be later. Or maybe it'll be right at that week. I'm not going to put a deadline on it. But it's hard, at least for me, when I hear that, like, oh, there is the possibility it might be a little bit longer. And if that's the case, if it is a little bit longer, I kind of go back to what I was saying at the first. You got the Josh Sweat rumors out there, the talk out there, okay? Cardinals, edge rusher. He's very familiar with Jonathan Gannon, not just because of the Cardinals, but with the Eagles. Cardinals are coming back, or coming to Green Bay. Josh Sweat activated off the pup. I'll say this: if Green Bay kind of knows behind the scenes, privately, that Week 6 might not be realistic and it might go a little bit longer. Then I think if you're Green Bay, that ups the importance of maybe looking at, okay, can we acquire somebody like a Josh Sweat? Because if you're going to miss Micah for half the season, you got to look at that schedule. And you got to look at your team. And you have to ask yourself, what kind of team are we going to be until Micah comes out? And that's the thing, too, is like when Micah comes back, is there going to be a little bit of a ramp up? Because he's not having this ramp up time like a Tucker Kraft is currently having. So let's say it's, first game back is Rams night before Thanksgiving or something like that. I mean, I think we as fans are all hoping that he's back sooner. But what if it's not? Is this team going to still be in a good spot without him? And then when he comes back, it's going to be kind of like, the Dodgers, right? Last year, and they're even talking about this year, the Dodgers winning a bunch of games, and then all of a sudden, right before the postseason starts, they get all these guys back, and they're all healthy. And then they go on that run. Hey, maybe that's what Green Bay could do. But are they going to be in that position? I guess for me is when if Green Bay privately behind the scenes knows that week 6 might be a stretch and it's probably going to be later, then I think you have to at least kick the tires just a little bit more on the Josh Sweat talk, whether that's accurate or it's just Twitter talk out there. And they still might not do it because they might look at, okay, Barrett Sorrell, Lucas Van Ness, Colin Oliver, Brenton Cox Jr., et cetera, et cetera. That's who we're rolling with. Who knows? All right. We got to take a quick break as we will wrap up the third hour. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Football season is here. Baseball season still going strong. And that means one thing. It is the perfect time for a tailgate. Whether you're firing up the grill before kickoff or gathering with friends for the big game, make sure you've got plenty of great food. That's why you should be stopping by Mike's Star Market and picking up the all-important brats. With Mike's Star Market, your neighborhood stop for great food, great friends, and great game day grilling. They got you covered with the brats and maybe some other, like maybe you want to throw some chicken, a good cut of steak on there too. Hey, Mike's has it all. So as you get ready for tailgate season this year, whether it is for football or baseball season, still rolling strong in the postseason coming up here, make sure you head to Mike's Star Market, located on the west side of Eau Claire. All right, just a couple minutes left to the top of the hour, so let's kind of reset this in the final hour. All right, final hour, the happy hour here. What If Wednesday. Send over some fun What If Wednesdays. Also, send me some more. What are we doing here Wednesdays? A lot of you going with the college sports world. So if you got something different, send that one on over too. What else do we got? Also, we'll get back to some more Brewers talk. Do you agree with what Pat Murphy did yesterday, benching Cooper Pratt? Come on, I know you got an opinion on it, so I want to hear from you. Majority of you saying yes. If you don't, still tell me. Okay? Share your opinion. We'll preview game 2 coming up as well. Plus, final training camp practice for the Packers, joint practice with the Cardinals, what to watch for today or what to follow along. If you are on social media and some of the writers that are there, I should have went to this one. Some of the writers that are there, what are you watching for? What are you paying attention to? Probably going to be the last good work for guys like Jordan Love because they're not going to play on Friday. So kind of a final tune-up before the regular season, if you think about it. Right? If you kind of think about it. So, but yeah, lots to hit up in the happy hour, the final hour coming up here in just a little bit. All right. Shot clock is going to cut me off. We got news updates, but we'll be right back in just a couple minutes. All right. Final hour coming your way here this morning. Big thanks for hanging out with us and, making us part of your Wednesday morning of this August 26th. Surveyor with a quick text. Don't know who it is, but Surveyor said just overheard your voice a few minutes ago playing from a plumber's radio at the new AutoZone in Lake Hallie. Just giving a shout out to that man and for him busting his butt. Well, shout out to him too. Big thanks for tuning in. If you are that plumber, hit us up with a text, 715-830-1912. We've got a What If Wednesday hanging out here. Give me some fun what ifs. All right. If you can text those on over or hang out in the Section 105 video stream. Also, what are some of your, what are we doing here? All right. What are we doing here? Send those puppies on over too. All right. What you got? I want to kick off this hour continuing to get your thoughts on the Pat Murphy situation. I don't even want to call it a situation. What the thing that happened last night, benching Cooper Pratt. So if you missed it, Cooper Pratt got a little jam, hit a little cue shot, a little pop up to the right field between first base and right field. Was a single. Then he got yanked. Come to find out, it was because he didn't hustle. This was from Pat Murphy after the game when he was asked about the situation. Said, quote, he's a young player, and we asked him to get a bunt down, and he pulled back on a strike. First one was a good attempt. Second one, he pulled back on a strike right down the middle. The next at bat, he popped up a ball to right field and didn't run. And the ball landed and stopped. He would have easily got to second. What could have happened after that? I'm not sure. But you can't have a guy not understanding that. And I felt like after the first at-bat, when he didn't attempt at a bunt with the ball right down the middle, and the second at-bat, the pop-up that landed fair, and he wasn't at second, it was time to let him know that. And it's not laziness. I know who this kid is. He's a great kid. It's not laziness. But you got to have your head in the game because these games, like today, well, they come down to Lindor's great catch or an errant throw. You've got to be locked in if you're going to play at this level. So hopefully a good learning experience. I love the kid, and I believe in the kid immensely. He's got to be a player that does those things. He's not going to hit 30 homers at this point in his career. He's a great defender and a really capable offensive player. And we can't have that. It's just not tolerated by anybody. And it sends a message to everybody else, too, that you better run. For what it's worth, Cooper Pratt also chatted with the media in the clubhouse after the game. And this is what he had to say. Audio courtesy from EdMcCulveyBrewers.com.
Message do you take from that moment tonight?
I got to be better. Stuff that can't happen. It's not winning baseball. Didn't help the team win. And it won't happen again. That's for sure. From the not getting the bunt downs and not running hard to first and turning it into a double. It won't happen again. I can promise you that. It's not winning baseball. And, yeah.
What did happen on the single?
I don't have an excuse for it. I just should have ran hard, and I wasn't. I don't have an excuse for it. It's inexcusable.
As you came off, it looks like you were kind of trying to process it, figure it out. What when you got to the dugout, what did the guys say?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't have an excuse for, oh, maybe it would have been fair, maybe it would have. There is no excuse. I should have ran hard, no matter even if it is foul, fair, if it's an out. I should have been busting my balls to get to second base. And some of the guys pulled me aside and just let me know, like, hey, this is how we do it here. And I know that, and I just, that it won't happen again. And they let me know. And they made sure to let me know that, I mean, it's a learning experience. But yeah,
what does it mean to be a part of a team that has standards like this that, will kind of let you know in this way?
Yeah, I know. I mean, our goal is to win, and my job is to help the team win. And I didn't do that today. And I mean, they hold you accountable, which is good. I need that, and it will never happen again.
What's the key to turning the page for tomorrow?
I mean, the game's over. It's a new day. Tomorrow, just like if you get 3 hits the day before, it's a new day tomorrow. Go in, practice, and best believe I'll be running as hard as I can.
Did Pat make that clear to you? Like, hey, it happened, it's over. Tomorrow's a new day for us, and nothing lingering.
I mean, it's known. There's a certain way we play here, and I maybe knew, but it doesn't matter. It's the way we're taught through the organization, from rookie ball to the big leagues, and I didn't do that, and I will do that. No excuses.
All right, again, that was Cooper Pratt after the game last night, and I know there's people looking at the videos, and there's looking at like, well, would he have even made second base if he was running? And I get it. Like, I even looked at him like, that would have been really close. That would have been close. But I don't think that's the point that Pat Murphy and maybe the team was trying to throw out there. I think you factor in, that was probably the tipping point last night, where the bunt part, like, we didn't know about the bunt part situation, that he was told to do this and, didn't lay it down. All right, so that was one. And then that was probably the tipping point. And I think the message, this is just me, but I think the message that Murphy is maybe sending some of these younger guys, and you got to go back. I know Kurt Hogg posted up a couple picks last night. It looked like, Joey Ortiz was telling Cooper Pratt to go sit by Jake Bauers. And, Jake Bauers is probably the perfect recent definition of, like, run out of the box. Because he was that Mariners game last Tuesday. He stretched a hit into a double. And then, he gets sent on another hit going across third and knocks the ball out of Cal Raleigh's glove. Otherwise, he's, like, dead in his sights. So, I mean, you got Bauers who's trucking around and doing that. I just think the message that Pat Murphy is trying to send is, if we want to win this thing, if we want to be a team that gets through this loaded National League, get to a World Series, win a World Series, we're going to have to put a little bit extra effort in it. We're going to have to do all the extra, little things just a little bit better than everybody else. You look at the comparison is the Dodgers. I mean, before we headed off for football last night, we had a pregame on for the Dodgers and Braves game on TV. Okay. And the crew was playing this game where you pick your 4 starters from the Dodgers, you pick a bullpen arm, and you pick your closer. The fact that they're having that, they had Ohtani closing. The fact that they were having that type of game because they had so many options, like Tyler Glasnow, they had coming out of the pen. But that's how ridiculous this team is, and that's the pitching side of things. And I think that's kind of the point that Murphy is trying to show his team, and maybe some of the younger guys who, especially, Pratt's new this year. Hey, we've got high expectations on this team. And if we want to be a team that is going to win, and that we are going to be a team that is going to get to the World Series, win a World Series, we got to do things just a little bit more than maybe some of the other teams. We don't have as much firepower as teams like the Dodgers. So that means we have got to put just a little bit more effort. We have got to play 100% I know it's one of those phrases that probably a lot of people roll their eye about, or coaches roll their eyes about always play 100%. Maybe gets overplayed a little bit. But I truly believe that is the message. And I think this is maybe a little bit of the college side of Murphy coming to surface here with some of these younger guys. Is this is if we want to reach our goals and we want to reach the top, we got to do these things all the time, every time. We got to be 100% all the time, every time. You can't let up. And I know people have said, well, tell that to Contreras. Sometimes he just kind of jogs down to first when he knows it's a clear route. And I don't know if that's, a veteran compared to, newbie, rookie, could be. But I think, and maybe Cooper Pratt was kind of a sacrificial lamb for everybody else on that team too. And sending a message to everybody else on that team, not just Pratt and not just the youngsters, but maybe some of the vets too. I personally feel like, that's just my opinion, that's the message Murphy is throwing out there. We have got to do the little things great. We have got to do the little things 100% every single time. If that's how we want to win. Or if we want to win in the World Series. If we want to get to a World Series. They ain't going to out-homer teams. They can score runs. They can get on base. They're struggling right now for runners in scoring position. And if that's going to be a trend that continues, which that can't happen in the postseason either. I mean, you can't have runners on third and second with nobody out and not get a run. That's inexcusable in the postseason. That cannot happen. Or you can't begin extra innings with one of your fastest guys on second, nobody out, and the top of the order coming up, and nothing. You can't even move the guy. That stuff can't happen. They've got to do all the little things right. They can't get away with maybe playing 95%, 90%, 95%. Teams like the Dodgers, okay, maybe they can get away with playing 90% when it comes to the postseason. Brewers, they can't. And I think that's a big part of the message that Murphy is trying to send. Let's take a look at game 2 tonight. Dustin May is on the mound here for the Brewers, looking for a little bit of a bounce back win or bounce back performance. We'll preview that coming up after these few words. Make sure you're hitting up the latest sales going on at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire this week. We're talking about $1.99 pound Sanderson Farms fresh boneless chicken breasts, 39 cents, 6-ounce Hy-Vee yogurts. Perfect for packing some school lunches for the kiddos. How about loading up those deep freezers here in Wisconsin, the frozen pizza capital of the world? Buy 3, get 1 free for Jack's Pizzas. We've got $5.49 LaCroix, 12 packs of sparkling water, $2.99 with the purchase of 2 Frito-Lay Ruffles, Tostitos chips, salsa, queso, or dip. Hey, talking about tailgating. Perfect tailgating snacks right there, peeps. You can also unlock some more savings with perks and save some money at the gas pump. Like if you go out to Hy-Vee and you purchase some M&M's ice cream sandwiches, $4.99, but you also earn 5 cents off per gallon. $2.99 Gold Peak Tea, 59-ounce, 5 cents off the gallon. So head on over to Hy-Vee in Eau Claire's Facebook page to check out all of the latest and greatest sales going on at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. All right. What else? This just popped up. Okay. I hope something's done with this now. So there's a report from CBS Sports. I'm going to get back to Brewers here in a skosh. CBS reports that Lane Kiffin and the LSU Tigers reached out to multiple players on NFL rosters or their representation in an effort to get them to bring a lawsuit against the NCAA and return to school. CBS Sports also reports, this according to Pro Football Talk, that LSU has had conversations with others who remained in NFL camps ahead of the league's cut day on August 30th. As Pro Football Talk noted, based on CBS Sports' report, Kiffin isn't simply reacting to a development over which he had no control. Instead, he's hoping to reap the intended benefit of an outcome he helped engineer. If that's true, if that's true, something's got to be done. And I'm talking like something's got to be done towards LSU and something's got to be done towards Lane Kiffin. Because what are we doing here? This can't happen. That is so shady. There's got to be some sort of punishment. Kiffin, yeah, I'm reading it right now from CBS Sports. Kiffin and the Tigers reached out to multiple players on NFL rosters or their representation in an effort to get them to bring a lawsuit against the NCAA and return to school. LSU isn't the only SEC program doing it, but the Tigers led the initial movement, which tipped over dominoes for other teams in the league. Yeah, this ain't going, like we were saying earlier, this definitely ain't going away for a while. There's probably going to be more stuff that pops out with this. So, all right. Brewers. Back to a little Brewers chat here. Brew Crew, back at it tonight. Game 2, 6:10, first pitch. You can listen to the game on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Dustin May is on the mound. Brewers and Dustin May looking for a little bit of a bounce back. Last time we saw him was that quick outing against the Mariners where he gave up 7 earned runs in a couple of innings. So we need to see Dustin May come back out and have a bounce back game. Brewers need it too. They need it too. Just maybe confidence-wise, or I don't want to come in tomorrow morning and be like, oh, should we be worried about Dustin May now? He should be kind of fresh. I mean, just pitched 2 innings. He pitched. Pitch count was maybe a little bit up there, but what was it here? I have it right here. He was at 66 pitches. I mean, should still be pretty darn fresh with that. I want to see. I mean, he set the bar high when he first got to Milwaukee. You know, Pittsburgh, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, picked up a win. No decision at San Diego, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. He set the bar high, but that's kind of the bar now. So, Kyle Harrison, though, last night, he had a nice bounce back game. Quality start for him. We need a quality start for Dustin May tonight. That's the expectation I have for him. And I really hope that maybe the offense kind of comes out here and kicks it into gear and has a little bit more pep in their step, if you know what I mean. You cannot win games in October by going, what was it in the last couple of games here? 4 for 26 with runners in scoring position. That's unacceptable. That is not playoff worthy ball. Yeah, they were 2 for 14 last night, 4 for 26 in their last couple of games. Pitching is not the problem right now for the Brewers. And it's probably for a lot of Brewers fans saying, repeat of last year. Pitching's not the problem. It's the offense. The offense is scoring runs. I mean, you look at it from league-wise, season-wise, year-long, they've been up there. Maybe it's just a little bit of a funk, but you can't get in the postseason. You can't get away with winning in the postseason by having those issues with runners in scoring position. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll talk a little green and gold as we get set for joint practice with the Cardinals later this morning. We'll talk some football coming up in just a couple minutes. Hey, we got 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. So don't forget to sign up for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. Just head to our website, sportstock1051.com. On the homepage there, you can just scroll down you might have to scroll down a little bit depending on if you're using computer, tablet, or your mobile device. But you'll see the icon that says Win Stuff. Okay, you want to click on Win Stuff. It's right below broadcasting from the TDS Studios logo. So you click on that. It'll open up another window, and then you click on the Pro Football Challenge. That's the one you click, okay? And you start to make your picks. At the end of the year, whoever has the most amount of picks correct, you're going to win some prizes. Big thanks to Home Oasis and Wisco's, who are bringing that to all of us. So big thanks for your partnership, Home Oasis and Wisco's. Packers will start to wrap up training camp today with a joint practice against the Arizona Cardinals. And I think this is what is this now? The Bucks a few minutes ago, about a half hour ago, but it just popped up because I'll be honest, I'm not paying attention to anything. Bucks. They posted a kind of an image, a weird image of their logo, but then something new is coming soon. 9/15/26. Nike's with it. I wonder if we got another jersey. I wonder if that's what it is. All right. Anyways, speaking of jerseys, Packers with their new jerseys. I think this is an important day for a lot of the established starters. Jordan Love, some of the members on the offensive line, the receivers, defense, et cetera, the established starters, the guys that we know, or even the primary backups, the guys that we know are locks on this team. Okay. It's an important day because this is really going to be their last work. They'll have work. They'll practice against their own team and that, but going up against a different team, this is going to be kind of one of their final major tune-ups before the regular season begins 2 weeks from this weekend. They're not playing in the preseason game. Maybe some starters are, but the primary ones, like Love, by all accounts, is not going to be playing Friday night at Lambeau. So this is important to kind of get that work in. Matt LaFleur mentioned the other day that they maybe even open up their playbook a little bit because they trust that his brother and the Cardinals are not going to send that film out to other teams or share that stuff or share that info. So it's important because you factor both of those into the equation. But it's also incredibly important for those roster bubble guys, whether it's a Will Shepherd, whether it's a Strong, whether it's a Anthony Campbell. Guys that are making and have made big-time cases to make this team. If they go out there today and they continue to build up that resume and they continue to impress, and then you follow it up with your last chance on Friday in that game against the Cardinals, well, you made it really hard on Goody and the Packers to maybe move on from you. But the other part in this here too is like, okay, you roster bubble guys. I don't know if they're thinking about this, but it crossed my mind. Arizona is not a good team. They're probably not going to be a good team this year. They have some roster holes. Some of you guys, all right, this is kind of a tryout in front of the Cardinals too, right? Be like, hey, I ball out. I play well. I continue to play well. They're going to have a firsthand glimpse of that. Other teams are going to watch, preseason film when they have their scouts all over the board, and you're going to hear that. You've been hearing that all preseason long. They're not just playing for their team; they're playing for the other teams too to potentially pick them up on waivers or practice squads. And it's true, but it's really, it's like a no-duh kind of comment, but incredibly important for those roster bubble guys to maybe make a last effort, last showcase, last case to make the Packers, but also you got a team that's going to come in here that might have more opportunities to play, might have more holes on their roster. With the Cardinals coming in here. Biggest thing, I think both teams that everybody wants, and let's just get it out of the way, stay healthy. Be healthy, no injuries, nothing stupid. Let's get some good work in. Let's get a good practice in. Get ready for Friday, and then we're on to the regular season. That's how I'm approaching it. But I look at, these next 2 days, if like today and Friday, Anthony Campbell, Will Shepard, J. Mike, Isaiah, maybe even Carl Brooks. Carl Brooks, that defensive line, I think that is the toughest decision that Goody, LaFleur, the Packers are going to have when it comes down to cut day on Sunday. And I think they're not going to have a number in their mind of how many receivers they're going to keep. I know a lot of people are talking about 7. Are they going to keep 7? How many are they going to just keep 6? I think, and we've heard this before in the past, they're going to go through their list and whatever happens, and whatever works. Maybe they view a wide receiver. If they get to a point, let's just say, okay, Will Shepard or Carl Brooks. Who can help out where the most? Who's maybe a better special teams contributor? Where do we feel better about the depth compared to this position and that position? It might come down to something like that. And I know that was a thing. Was that 13, 14? I think it was 14 when the Packers carried like 3 quarterbacks. It was Tolzien, Flynn, and Rodgers. Like, they're not carrying 2. But then it ended up being like, okay, they just viewed the third quarterback as a better option than another player, another spot in that position group. But I think defensive line is going to be the toughest one. And the other factor into that, too, is it's a 3-4 defense. You play nickel. You're only going to have 2 down defensive linemen. And I think it's been a pleasant surprise for this team to see the improvement from Jonathan Ford this year. Brinson looked like he has been playing well, but now he's banged up. You got Stackhouse, who lost some time last year. You got the rookie in here. You added Jonathan Hargrave. And then Anthony Campbell just flashing big time. That's going to be the toughest one to figure out. I'm going to do my roster prediction. I'm probably going to wait until Friday to do it, maybe even after that final preseason game. But I still truly believe Green Bay's probably got it narrowed down. They won't publicly say it, but they got it probably narrowed down to 50. And really the last couple of spots are maybe up for grabs. And I think it's between wide receiver and defensive line as the big ones. All right, we got to take our final break here. We got some picks to get to. Will the Brewers bounce back tonight and get in the win column? We'll pick that and more baseball games coming up in just a couple minutes. All right, we only got about 10 minutes left until we're done for today, and then we're on to Thursday. Let's make some picks here. Baseball picks, that is. At least with the Brewers loss, they didn't really lose anything in the standings, which we'll get to here in just a second. But first off, games-wise, we've got Tampa Bay taking on Detroit. Freddie Peralta has not been having a good start to his Tampa Bay tenure. I'm going to go Detroit tonight, or this afternoon, excuse me. Chicago at Arizona. I'll go Cubbies. Matthew Boyd's on the mound. Eduardo Rodriguez, so too. I'm going to go Cubs. Reds, Giants. Give me the Reds. Guardians versus the Angels. Guardians. Phillies, Mariners. Seattle's taking the first two. I'll get Philly for a bounce back game. Pittsburgh versus the Padres. Pittsburgh picking up a 1-0 win last night. Or excuse me, 1-0 win last night. Mason Miller picking up the loss. How about that? I'll go with San Diego picking up the win. Boston versus Miami. Sonny Gray's on the mound. I'll go with the Red Sox. Rockies taking on the Nationals. Astros, Yankees. I'll go Yankees. Royals, Toronto. I'll go with the Blue Jays. Dodgers, Braves. Sasaki. I'll go with Dodgers today. Rangers and the White Sox. I'll go White Sox. Baltimore versus the Cardinals. I'll go Baltimore. Minnesota versus the A's. Give me Minnesota. And then Brewers taking on the Mets. Dustin May, Robert Stock. Not Robert Stock from Unsolved Mysteries, but I'll go Brewers picking up the win today. With kind of just an update where things are at in the standings, the Tampa Bay Rays are still holding on to a 3.5-game lead over the Yankees in the AL East. The Boston Red Sox are 5 back in the AL West. It's a little bit closer. White Sox holding on to a 2.5-game lead over Cleveland. And then Minnesota 5.5 back. Tigers 7 back. You've got the Royals 10.5 back, but they've won 9 in a row now. But Houston holding on to a very slight lead in the AL West. They're at 500. Half-game lead over Texas. Mariners 2.5 back. National League East, Atlanta now a 4.5-game lead over the Phillies. Phillies have lost their last 2. Atlanta have won their last 2. Marlins still 10.5 back, 1 game above 500. Hey, Marlins, you'd be leading the AL West if you were in that division. The National League Central, Brewers holding on to a 5.5-game lead over the Cubs. Dodgers 9.5-game lead over the Padres. Nothing really has changed in terms of wild card chase, although Cleveland is still holding on to the 3rd spot in the AL. Texas 1 back. Baltimore's 2.5 back. Seattle 3 back. Minnesota 3 back. Toronto 3 back. Detroit 4.5 back. Not a lot of change either in the National League. Padres holding on to that final spot. Arizona's 1 back. Miami's 4. Cardinals 5. Pirates 6.5. So I saw, again, watching that pregame yesterday where they were very heavy on the Dodgers, and I get it because those Dodgers were Braves. But they had like the predictive markets, and it was like 44% for the Dodgers to come out of the National League. I think it was just the National League. I don't think it was World Series. I think it was just the National League. I could be wrong. Brewers were next at 22. Braves were 5th at 9, but right behind the Braves was the Pirates at 6%. Pirates are 4 games under 5. They ain't even going to make the playoffs. I don't know who's betting on the Pirates, but don't think so. All right, so we only got a few minutes left. If you missed Ty from Slab Factory earlier with us, that is now up on the Man Cave podcast. So if you could be a friend, go to the Man Cave podcast on Apple or Spotify. 5-star rating, and just leave a review, okay? You could say thumbs up. You could say whatever. 5-star review, 5-star rating, positive review, because it helps the algorithms out there. Or Spotify, you don't even have to leave a review, just 5 stars. YouTube, don't forget to follow, subscribe. I hate using the word subscribe, but it is the word. It's for free. Ring that bell, follow it. Would really appreciate it. We've got we're going to attempt to do a live episode of the Kid Cave tonight. It's going to do a little after school programming trend here. Going to shoot for maybe every other Wednesday or every Wednesday for that little different format. So, but that should be coming possibly today. But yeah, that episode of the Man Cave podcast is now up for your listening. If you missed Ty from Slab Factory, talking some cards, good conversation, about 28 minutes worth over there. All right. Tonight again, too, you got Brewers, 6:10 first pitch. You can listen to the game, of course, on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Pre-game coverage will begin at 5:35. Practice is going to start at 11:30 today between the Packers and the Cardinals. They moved it back a little bit. I believe that the Cardinals will be riding the bikes too. So I'm sure there's plenty of kids over there if they're not in school yet, but I'm sure there's going to be some plenty of options for everybody to ride on that bike and enjoy what I think is still one of the best traditions in all of sports, and maybe doesn't get as much praise, publicity as it should. Kind of one of those that under the radar, and I get it. It's only like for a few weeks at the end of summer, but it's still pretty darn cool. I think it's still pretty darn cool. So, but yeah, I don't know if LaFleur is talking before. I would have thought if he was talking before, he'd be over there or he'd be chatting right now, but could be wrong. Maybe since they pushed practice to 11:30, they pushed his presser to about 10:30. If we kind of follow the same, I guess, format, but yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm kind of jealous of the fellow media members that get to go and watch that one. I should have planned it better. Maybe went over today, but it is what it is. It is what it is, but it should be fun. So just no stupid stuff. Okay. Nobody get hurt. Nobody from Green Bay get hurt. No fights. No, nothing dumb. Okay. Get through this practice. Get some good work in. All right. Do a few things where you're opening up your playbook that you normally wouldn't do. Get through the day. Friday, final preseason game. Everybody get through smooth. And let's get to the roster cut downs. And on to the regular season. We'll be on to Minnesota. Tomorrow, with it being Thursday, your homework assignment, peeps. 3 up and a 3 down. It's like stock reports. Give me your 3 things that are rising and 3 things that are falling. Think about that for a little bit and turn in your assignments right away tomorrow morning. You want to be ahead of the game? You could turn it in early. All right. Hit me up. Shoot me with a text, 715-830-1912. Or put it up on social media if you want. So when I post a link to the podcast episode, I threw this out earlier too. Hey, email me, Facebook it, Twitter it, Instagram it, text it to the Shoe Doctors bullpen line. I know you all have some. You got a car. You got a sports car. What's your favorite one? Or just shoot me a quick photo of your collection. That way I can share it with Ty the next time he's on, which will probably be in a couple weeks since we're always kind of like bi-weekly in that. So, all right, that's going to do it for us because the shot clock is going to cut me off in about 20 seconds. So have a great rest of your day on this final Wednesday of the month of August. Ooh, I know, like Eau Claire kids, you start school a week from today. I don't want to see my kid continue to grow, but enjoy the rest of like the last week of summer vacay. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Back at it, same place, same time tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. from the TDS Sports Talk Studios. We'll chat with you then.